Good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Welcome in to our remote viewing show tonight. Boy, do we have some interesting data and information for you guys tonight. Barry Littleton had tasked me this week with 2 separate blind coordinate remote viewing targets, and they ended up both being those translucent looking iridescent orbs. Some people are calling them plasmoid orbs that have been seen pretty much all over the country. There's been several of them. Now, Barry and I obviously have been talking about orbs for years. Okay. And actually showing orbs that look a lot like these during our research and with some of these shows. So we are going to really dive in to these, what these orbs are, if they're drones, orbs, if they're extraterrestrial. I've got some really interesting data for us tonight. In case you guys were wondering what these things are, I think we might have some answers tonight. And we're going to go down the rabbit hole and cover and make some connections to some other targets that Barry has given me throughout the past couple of years. And it's going to be really good. So you guys go buckle up. Okay, get your popcorn and get ready for this awesome show we have lined up for y'all tonight. Thank you guys again so much for being here on Wednesday. Yesterday, we had Vic Cundiff here with Dogman Encounters. If you guys missed that show, my goodness, y'all please go back and check that out. Vic is the best. Okay. And so that was a great show. We talked all about Dogman. Okay. It was all Dogman yesterday, and wonderful show there with him. All right. If you guys would like to check out my archives, y'all please go over to my website. Any kind of information y'all need about me, the calendar of events, places that I'll be, all my public events, and all my social media links are there, including my Patreon. You guys who are part of my Patreon, all the data is there in the Patreon right now. So if you guys want to follow along with all the data for tonight's show, for all the different shows and all the targets that we've done, all of the data is all posted in my Patreon right now. So thank you guys so much. Everybody who's supporting me, who are members of that Patreon, you guys are the best. Also, if you guys want to check out my shop, it's called War Woman Goods. It's over on Etsy, and I appreciate your support so much. But you guys can find all of that information on my website. I do want to give a huge shout out to our good friend, John Vendeventer. I hope he's feeling okay tonight. Please check out his website, relicsbooks.com, if you guys want to get some books this Christmas that involve UFOs and Bigfoots and all sorts of cryptids and stuff. He's got a wonderful line of books. It's the Relic series. He is a frequent co-host and guest here on our channel, and he is currently undergoing chemotherapy and found out he has throat cancer. Okay, so he's not been feeling well. We are praying that he can get back over here and start doing more shows with us next year. Okay, so John, get better soon. We love you, and we'll talk soon. I'm always texting and checking on him, y'all. Okay, he's gonna be okay. All right. Okay, well, y'all, please come see me next month, by the way. I'm going to be at the East Alabama Bigfoot Town Hall on January the 18th down in Opelika. If y'all want to come hang out with the Cryptid Huntress and Stacy Brown Jr. and Flat Rock and Tyler Howell. And let's see, who else is going to be there? I can't remember. Odell Boswell will be there. It's going to be a really good time. So y'all come over and hang out with me there. And also I will be at I think it's a Georgia UFO conference on January the 11th. So y'all come see me there too. It's somewhere up in North Georgia. I think it's in Blue Ridge, but I'll get you more information closer to that time. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to our show, y'all. We have a lot to talk about tonight. And I do have Barry Littleton here in the studio tonight. Barry is, y'all know he's like one of my resident experts on all things aerial phenomenon-wise, UFOs, dare we say UAPs, the extraterrestrials, and all that. Barry's here. He's the one that gave me these 2 targets tonight. So let's get to the show. A series of translucent orbs have been spotted and recorded in the skies over the United States over the past week or more. Some are calling these orbs plasmoids. On December the 14th, 2024, one of these orbs was recorded over Phoenix, Arizona. A drone flew up to the orb, and the orb completely destroyed this drone, according to what it looked like on the video. A woman in Pennsylvania recorded an orb in the sky as she attempted to communicate with it, invoking the name of Jesus, and the orb appeared to respond to what she was saying to it. This has all occurred in the midst of multiple swarms of drones being seen across the country, and the DHS, FBI, FAA, DoD Joint Statement on ongoing response to reported drone sightings, released on December the 17th, which was 2 days ago, says that they are all lawfully in the sky in normal hobbyists and airplanes, including the plasmoids, orbs, and drones. There's nothing to see here, folks. So what exactly are these orbs? Barry Littleton tasked me with 2 separate targets of these orbs, and we are here to discuss it to make sure we don't have an alien invasion about to begin. Barry's favorite topic, the fake alien invasion. But what is going on here? I think that we have some evidence of these orbs being around for a lot longer than the past couple of weeks. Okay, so Barry Littleton is a fantastic researcher, a good friend of mine. He and I met back in, I think it was 2021 at the full, what was it, Camp Disclosure, actually, in North Georgia, where we were both speakers. That was the first time I ever spoke publicly about my Bigfoot field research. And we bonded over the portals and the black cube that he had in some of his, drawings during his presentation. And we have since become good friends, and we love doing work together. And if you guys have not already subscribed to Barry Littleton on YouTube and his Patreon, Barry Littleton, please do. And also, please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Barry Littleton himself. Hey, Barry.
Greetings, Jessica. Thanks for having me on, and greetings to everybody in chat. Appreciate you having me here. This is, I think this will be an interesting one that goes pretty far out deep as far as information. And I think it connects a lot of things too. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to my Patreon today and I just simply typed in a search of orbs. Okay. Anytime that I have done a remote viewing target on orbs, and I'm going to go down the list because I've got it pulled up right here. The first one, let me go down a little further. The first one was the orbs flying over crop circles that you and I did. That was back in 2022. Okay. That was one of the first ones we did together, actually. And then also we had the OR station device at Mount Adams, which involved orbs. That was in 2022 or 2023 that we did that one. We also did the Brown Mountain Ghost Lights, which involved orbs and plasma orbs, just like what we're talking about tonight. We're going to dive into this a little bit tonight as we progress through our information. Also, the Russian soldiers turned to stone after a UFO crash. Covered that. That involved orbs as well. And then tonight we have the mysterious glowing plasmoid orbs, Barry, that have been seen all over the country. Have you heard about all these orbs? I mean, I know you have because you and I have kind of talked about it. But what is your opinion on all these orbs that are showing up?
Well, it's hard to decipher because you've got this drone sensationalism that's going on so much right now. But these are something different. This is more of a plasma phenomenon that's being reported. So that's what really caught my attention more than anything is that. And the fact that we have, different types of craft. And that we have not just the metal and bolts craft. We also have plasma craft. We have condensed light ships. And we also have pure conscious craft and organic craft. So, when getting into plasma, it takes us into all sorts of things. And especially, you mentioned some of the targets that we've done that dealt with orbs. One of them was that the crop circles and those plasma balls that were seen making that one circle. And, I can say of all the ones we've done, and this will be like our 71st remote viewing show that we've done. That is the most emotional I've seen you get on any of the targets. And it was a positive emotional response. It's a positive deal, but it just was very powerful. You remember?
It was. I got a message during that target when I was doing that session. And this was, of course they're blind, so I don't know what these things are, but I kept getting like hot, like my whole body was just like blood red, like super, and I was sweaty. And every time that I would even think about the session that I did, my temperature would rise. And while we were doing that show, talking about the data that night, I was talking about the message that I got, a download, and it was, we know you're tired, but the first part of it was, thank you for your teamwork. Thank you for your teamwork. It's important. We know you're tired. We know you don't want to be here, but keep going. Okay. It was like, the message was like, keep going. We are here with you. You can't see us, but we are here. We are here to assist you, was the message. But it was a very much a thank you message to basically to humanity, I'm assuming. Okay. I took it a little personal, like, okay, well, they were thanking me for something. I don't know who this is, but I think it was a message to get out to everybody, because we're all tired, Barry. I know everybody watching this show right now, we're all exhausted from everything that life's been throwing at us lately. But it was an important message, I think.
And it's the things that we had kind of talked about concerning the crop circles. Let's get that out real quick before we go over the data. Is that excuse me, they expand the high energy plasma that causes those circles. Also, there's a microwave that they're exposed to. These nodes are exposed to microwaves, and also this high energy plasma that creates something called an electron avalanche in the seeds and in the genetics. And that makes the seeds very resilient. And actually those seeds yield like more product. Like, I can't remember what percentage it is more than normal crops would. So in some ways, I think that we're being shown with that system is that a way to combat food shortage on this planet also, let alone that there's obviously markings for some things. And I think that we talked about on that other show that I think that there are also in some cases markers for time travelers, I think also. And that's been postulated quite a bit, especially at a point when humanity no longer has this container, and we might become a type of a plasma, type of a orb, type of energy, high energy plasma. It's very interesting when we start getting into these things, But that it's good to have a positive target for a change, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, we don't know. We haven't revealed the data yet, but yeah, that was a positive one for sure. Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah.
That was it was nice. It was nice. It was interesting having such an interesting message that came through that day, and to show us the duality of what's going on in the world around us, including with crop circles and with a lot of these things that have started off natural. I'm going to say natural and with good intentions, have been corrupted to put out negative messages. Okay, a lot of things that come from, let's just say, source, right? Source energy from the creator, I guess you could say, right? Things that come with positive intentions, love and light, it's taken and it is corrupted sometimes. And I feel like that is a common pattern that we're seeing with a lot of things, even things that you and I have done remote viewing sessions with, okay, and had discussions on. But the crop circles, that's one of them. I mean, you can even see, I mean, it's some people, and I'm not saying it's like these people who go out with the plywood and the ropes and they make their own crop circles. Okay, I'm not saying they're putting out bad messages. I'm talking about there's also orbs that go out and you'll see them making these crop circles, and it does like a Microsoft logo in somebody's field. Okay, stuff like that, Masonic symbolism. I'm not saying Masons are bad. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying like they put like advertisements almost out in these crops or in the crops, in those wheat fields. So, and originally, according to the data and everything, it appeared as though they were giving messages to humanity to help us move along in a positive way. That's what they were originally.
Those orbs that or those circles that have that bad energy on them,
Mm-hmm.
people that go inside those circles don't know it immediately, even though they may not be seeing what makes it, but it's one of those circles that has that negative type of energy, that DOR, that loose type energy, whatever you want to call it. That's detectable by the people that go in those circles. They get sick in them and they don't feel well. It's the complete opposite of one of the circles that's maybe representing a free energy device or whatever it is. We don't know, but different thing going on there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. T-Buds, thank you so much for that super sticker. It's T-Bud says, Merry Christmas, Jessica. Thank you. And my brother Barry for all the good shows. Merry Christmas to you too, Barry. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
Very sweet. That's very sweet.
Very, very cool audience, Very,
we
very
do.
kind and very sharp audience too. So that's cool. Very cool.
For sure. We have so many great comments already. I was trying to star some of them so I don't miss them. They move really quickly as we go. The Desolate one says, farmers in the UK plow over crop circles. They don't want folks on their land, but some have, honesty box and allow you to investigate. I ask permissions and go look-see. Okay. That's interesting. I don't blame the farmers really because it destroys their crops. That's how they make their money, right?
Well, there was this, there used to be this, there were two websites. Crop Circle Connector was one of them. And I think they're both down. I'm not sure either of them are still around now. What was the other one called? Crop Circle. Anyway, it's been gone probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years now. But every day they used to post stuff up there. And it was always a lot of stuff in the UK. And there's other places the circles happen. But that was Crop Circle Connector. That one might still be around, but I'm not sure. So.
Yeah. For sure. Renee's in the chat. Hey, Renee. He says, it has been documented that plasma-like entities, plasmoids, in the thermosphere engage in complex behaviors that appear to be mutually aware, purposeful contact-seeking, and communicative actions.
Okay, is this your friend that's really into the Trevor Constable thing?
No, that's Prince Arcane. I don't know if he's in the chat tonight. Prince Arcane sent me an email about that.
That there is mostly documented by Constable, is the one that did a lot of work on that. And also I've done a video called Critters, because they're also called Energy Zoa. Energy Zoa critters, and these things are actually more like almost one cellular organisms. And I mentioned before on that show before that those are the ones that started getting me sick when I was messing with those cloud busters and combusting nimbus clouds that collects actually DOR because it wasn't grounding the water source correctly. So I started getting kind of sick. And it's those things that were feeding on that DOR. So, and so it becomes an issue of people have asked, do you think they're archons? I don't know. I don't know what their conscious level is, but to me, they look like when you see them, you can catch them on infrared film with the ultraviolet filter. That's back in the early 90s when we still had such devices. Everything is,
Oh, yeah. Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says there was a cop car in Alabama. I don't think Barry lives in Alabama, but it's close to my state, actually. I live in Georgia, right on the Alabama line. It says that it got its hood dented by a violent orb. What's going on? Also, planes being struck by malevolent orbs. Now, okay, so those kind of orbs are probably a little bit different than the ones that I've remote viewed tonight, because I've remote viewed, well, maybe, let's just say maybe, the ones that look like they're see-through, kind of like transparent, maybe. I don't know. The glowing ones could be the same ones, though. I don't know. But you and I, Barry, have both seen in a video. We've seen those metallic orbs. Metallic orbs are kind of like the ones that are making those crop circles, too. But we've seen that video of those. They look metallic, and they turn into aliens. So it could be that too, or it could be drones. I don't know.
Yeah. Because most of the orbs I've seen, the ones that are making the circles, they're plasma-like and high energy plasma.
Yeah.
And the effects, if you look at the work of Dr. Livingood, it shows that the effects of high energy plasma, microwaves, and everything that comes with that. But I'm sure you've got technology people made that are orb type technology, even man-made. It starts, the drone thing has gotten so sticky right now. And I'm hearing so many different things. What you remote viewed and got is different than this other individual, these other two individuals got. And they're going into this stuff that's so fantastic oracle, you know, and people want fantasy right now. And it sounds like the same stuff I heard kind of in the late 80s and in the 90s. You know, it's you know what I mean? But so I think we have to use a lot of discernment, you know. And so when you go over the data, I think it's going to be very worthwhile concerning this, because in some ways the data, although this is the plasma phenomenon, does connect to the drone thing too. And that seems to be what everybody wants to talk about right now, you know, which to me I think is little more than a distraction. But that's all right. Unless,
Okay.
honestly, the sensationalism of it is a distraction. And a lot of
It
people
is.
hoping, well, it's the prelude to us knowing about real contact. They're getting us ready. Okay, maybe. All right. I'm sitting back with popcorn watching the ride, the vid.
I know. Listen, we're ready. We ready. All right. And I actually have some pictures of something I didn't even mention to you before the show tonight. Some holographic geometrical objects that drones make. Okay, because drones are, I didn't realize how advanced drones are. I didn't know they could make all these holographic, things in the air. And I'm going to show some pictures. I'm not going to show the video of it, but I got some still shots. It kind of was blowing my mind a little bit because I literally didn't know drones could do this. Renee says plasma or electromagnetic flux cables have been discovered in the thermosphere, which function like a virtual nervous system capable of generating plasmodic entities and a consciousness. Oh, okay. Well, we have a lot to talk about tonight, and I figured, well, let's just go ahead and get into the targets, because this is going to take us down a whole bunch of different avenues tonight. And so I don't know, we might be here a while, okay, tonight, or maybe not. We'll see. Because let's show the audience some of these pictures tonight, because I have some screenshots, some still shots of some of these orbs that people have been seeing, and there's one really interesting one of this lady who was speaking to an orb. She was filming it. I think she was in Pennsylvania, and she started videoing it. Okay, she was I want to say film. I don't know if that's what you call it on your cell phone, but she was videoing this orb, and it seemed to react to her. This is just her name was Pauline Morgallo from Pennsylvania. That's an interesting looking kind of orb. Now, I mean, could it be a drone? Yeah, could be. We don't know really what this thing is. I think it's one of these kind of included in my data here. But the thing started kind of moving. She was asking, I forgot exactly what she was asking it, but she said, how we talk about sometimes on my channel here, you're having a negative experience, or you see something that scares you and you say, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave, and they usually leave. Okay, and things will disappear. And she was just kind of inquiring using the name of Jesus, and it started responding to her. Okay, so I just wanted to make a note of that tonight. I thought this was really interesting. We also have this is basically what people are seeing right here. Okay, this is what people have been seeing. They're actually very large, I would assume. Okay, they look pretty big. Here's another one. Okay, that may be the same one actually, from a different angle. We got these. I mean, these look okay. So I've seen a lot of orbs out in the field. I've seen real orbs that were not drones at all. They were translucent. They were big, gigantic like that. I've seen some that look like the size of the moon. Okay, they actually, to me, they look like the moon. I thought it was the moon, and then until it started slowly falling out of the sky behind the trees, and I thought, dang, that's not the moon. That's not the moon. But it was just as bright as the moon. And I remember describing it like it looked as though someone had shot a flare gun. You see somebody shoots a flare into the air, and it drops slowly like a shooting star, like slowly going down. That's what it looked like. But it was an orb, like one of those right there. It was huge.
You lose any time with that?
I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. I don't think so. I mean, I got, we had broken off into smaller teams. We were out doing our Bigfooting, and I was in one field. We had some weird weird activity. I was hearing things that sounded like, I remember it sounded like pigs snorting, but I think it turned out to be deer and stuff. And I remember that night. I didn't see anything, but that was a really odd thing. And I think that may have been the same weekend that our buddy Chris, he and his wife had a Bigfoot run out right in front of them on the trail right beside where I was sitting. So we had a lot of activity that weekend for sure. But I've had one of these floating in my tent, Barry. I've had something that looked just like that floating in my tent at night, and it just kind of hovered over me. And we had a video of it floating out of my tent and went through the tent material and into the next tent beside me. Okay, so stuff that looks just like that. I have experienced this more than once, several times.
Have you seen any orange ones?
I have seen orange orbs, absolutely. Yeah, that's the last time I saw.
When you start looking around in the literature, you see a lot literature and reports. A lot of people saying that the orange ones are related to connect to Sasquatch, and they're seen around the vicinity of Sasquatch during encounters. And I mean, I've heard that quite a bit, actually.
That's when I saw it, actually. So yeah, it was at one of the fields that we do our research in, and I saw my buddy Matt was there, and he saw an orange light go through the trees on one side of us, and then I saw an orange light go through the trees. It was like it was an orb kind of, and it went through the trees right in front of us in a tree line. And then as it went like that, I heard hoof, like this loud huff and growl. I mean, it was not human, and the only thing it could have been was like would have been like a bear. But there were no bears over there. We didn't have any bears out there that night. We went and looked. So yeah, I think that the orange orbs are related to Bigfoot for sure. Not always, but sometimes, yeah, because I've experienced it.
It becomes, again, taking things to another level. I've mentioned before how the Earth is like a Gemini. It's got a twin, and the twin is actually got beings that have consciousness without organism. Thus, they're inorganic beings. As where this world, this Earth, has, beings with organism and consciousness. But all the time we have other beings from other realms that jump in our field of awareness, not just from the universe physical, but from the universe on other different levels, non-physical. I mean, all these different vibrations take us into this bubble theory and other things that, it really is a trip. So how many beings jump in our field of awareness that we can perceive at any one point, whether they be orbs, or how many beings use that to communicate to transfer through dimensions or universes, or densities.
Yeah. I am blown away at the number of people commenting in our chat tonight about experiencing orbs. Orbs, like what we're talking about tonight. A lot of people. Renee says we've had close contact with a giant orb. It was within 20 feet of our party. It was purposefully motivated and was making communication through sound and vibrations, which at times were paralyzing. Interesting. And also, Mystical Wonderland, thank you for being a member of my hunt club. I appreciate you. Says, my ex and I were scooped up by 2 white orbs swimming in the Frio at midnight, woke up 4 hours later in the van. Missing time. Wow.
See, you have civilizations that is their motive of craft, are these orbs. And I've mentioned before that somebody had claimed to have seen one of these 9-foot reptilians go into an orb the size of this, contract and go in, slide into it. It's their craft. When you start dealing with beings that are coming from another dimension or a very advanced civilization, all these different things, it's very fascinating. Or just when dealing with the quantum hologram itself. And I've mentioned that several times, so we'll go into that too much. When you're dealing with these beings that are using these wormholes, these micro wormholes, these black holes, whether they be micro or massive, but it creates that same effect of that quantum hologram effect. And that when you start dealing with the orbs and people seeing those orbs, those faces in the orbs, I mean, that's a very definite explanation for some of what we're seeing. Or the other things that from the other side, like what John Vavinko had said, that what his team had saw, that when some of these orbs that were making some of these crop circles, you have on the other side, you just got on a portal, you've got thousands of beings trying to squeeze through all at once. And that's like you and I both trying to put our head through a catch-up battle.
Yeah.
But those that actually squeeze through, those that come through, emerge in this dimension in collective conscious form, orb form. That's what he described. That's another thing I've heard concerning these orbs. So it takes us into these different levels of what these orbs might actually be. You know what I mean? It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, so I've given you a chart, what people say that they feel from a lot of the different colored of the orbs.
Yeah. Moondog Davis says, I've seen the photos inside the collision chamber of Alice. They have orbs with demonic faces. Now, Alice is, if you're referring to Alice at Oak Ridge Labs, I think, works at a program called Alice. It's like a large ion collider. I forgot the exact acronym, but it's got something to do with a large ion collider, and they work in conjunction with CERN, actually, in Switzerland. So this is in East Tennessee, by the way. Oak Ridge Labs in East Tennessee, where they have a lot of dogman encounters over there and a lot of other strange things as well. And also, hey, Steve, you learned if I felt as though the orb was scanning me. Yes. The one in my tent, yes, I do. It was surveilling me. Let's just say it felt like it was checking me out and seeing what I was doing. 100%.
You know, I want to say Dr. David Jacobs. I heard him talk about Alice. He's now deceased. But when he was describing Alice, he was talking about it being a neurogenic a neural network, a neural weapon being used for that also.
Really?
I remember that. I have to try to find the stuff. It was ALICE, and I remember because I thought it was connected to maybe the Hadron Collider too, one of those colliders. Because I'm always looking to see when they're going to make the first muon collector. The first muon collector, I think that's going to be kind of scary. That one,
Oh my gosh,
interesting.
It's
So,
like
I don't know. Just interesting. This when I heard that Alice, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is what Dr. Jacobs said about that. Anyway,
wow. Well, would you like to, should we show the charts of the orb colors that you were mentioned? I think this is it. The color of orbs. Now, this is fascinating because people have asked me quite often about orb colors. So, yeah, would you like to go over it?
Oh, go ahead. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. That's what people feel. There's another one I'd given you too that looks similar, it's a little more detailed. But yeah, that one. That's a good one there. Yeah. I found that the yellows and the golds, those are the ones I tend to see a lot, and I would always see the blue ones too. But some, in the case for like me, some of those non-physicals on board some of those craft were plasma beings or some type of condensed energy beings, and they were blue. You know what I mean? So, like the blue energy.
Wow. Okay. The most of the orbs that I've seen, actually, the first time I ever saw what I think would be like I didn't know what it was. I saw an orb. I think that was my first. I considered it to be a ghost when I was a kid. I saw it was white. Almost every orb that I've ever seen, most of them have all been white. Except for, I mentioned this a lot, not a lot, but the week that my brother died, he passed away in a car accident, and he showed up in the bedroom one night when I woke up, and there were green orbs. Let me see what green orbs indicate here. Let's look. Green. Let's see.
Neutral, healing, communicative,
psychic.
Maybe spirits happy in life, visiting and sending healing energy. Boy, that's pretty on spot, isn't it? Wow.
Well, that's amazing. Okay, well, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. He was those shades of green right there. Yeah, he came back to visit to bring some healing to the situation, I guess. I was inconsolable, let's just say. Okay, it was really rough. So it was very comforting. Okay, seeing him. So orbs, but the majority of orbs that I've seen have been white. Okay, except for that, and then the orange, some orange in the woods. Our team has actually encountered like red orbs in the woods. Okay,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, oh yeah. We have
Did any
actually.
bad experiences happen around that?
Oh, I was gonna say we've actually connected that to like extraterrestrial contact, ETs and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. There's just a whole lot. Let's see what the red indicate actually. High energy, creative, restlessness, stress, pain, anger, maybe a restless spirit. Well, we are out in the woods doing research and stuff, and there's no telling when you're out in the field on old land, especially like a national forest and stuff. I mean, some say, that's the land could be cursed out there, and that's why there are cryptids out there, according to some people.
Real quick,
Mhm.
I gave you a chart that was a plasma chart. You saw that?
One of
When
these
during what? No, that's actually Ray's survey over orbs and stuff. That's all interesting too. But
plasma chart.
yeah, there you go.
That
That
one.
is actually the plasma range chart. It's a bit of it anyway. Sorry, it's not much. You can't see. If anybody Googles that, you can see more. But actually, what it's showing is that how certain metals and things that are in our atmosphere, how they'll react. And what I was warned towards in my experiences were these beings that they'd warned me that those ships that stay red what are you doing?
I'm trying to people can see it, so people can see what it says. See, now you can see it. You can't see it when my face is right here. Okay, I'm just trying to help.
That's all right. It's not as good of a chart as I thought it was because it should stay on their metals and different things on there. But anyway, they warned me that those ships that stay red in our atmosphere longer than the metals and plasmas normally would on that chart, kind of like type of thing, that the red ships are not good. I got warned that several times during my experiences against red ships. So when I see people saying they're doing the CE5 and they're calling in red ships, I kind of veer the other way. I'm not really trying to,
Yeah, it's I want to say I don't know if Daryl's in the chat tonight. Daryl from my team. I believe he got, I don't say accosted, but he encountered some, I think they were red orbs. I want to say that were got into like a triangular pattern, and they were kind of chasing him and some other people through the woods one night. So it wasn't pleasant. Okay, it wasn't pleasant. Let's just say. So
wow.
yeah, I have definitely.
Wow. See that? Yeah, that's interesting. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, as my mother would say, where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's.
Mhm. Yeah, and Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says, Barry, yes, there's been reports of red orbs possibly unaliving people.
Oh, thank you, Wildman, for throwing that in there. Yeah, that's even more negative. I've also heard about red type of auras coming with some of those TR3Bs that are doing negative things with people too. So I wonder if that's somehow connected too. Thank you for sharing that. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll definitely steer the other way.
Yeah. Try not to get chased down by orbs if you can help it. Okay, especially out in the woods.
That's
Wow,
interesting.
yeah.
That's interesting. Interesting there.
And Joanne, she says, when my grandmother died that night, she came back into her house. She was glowing in white light. Leading her through the rooms were two orbs that jumped around and reminded me of puppies.
You know what I would say is that your grandmother had already crossed over very fast, and then when she comes back, that light you're seeing and things and those jumping around, a lot of times those are angels or guides that are helping. You know what I mean? And that's interesting that you got that type of a feeling from. So that sounds like a positive experience. I imagine that you probably got a message from your mother too, or grandmother. It might have been that she's all right, or something like that. That's thanks for sharing that. That was a good post.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot of people sharing information like that, and there's encounters and stories in the chat. So thank y'all so much. I wish if we had more time, I'd pull all of your encounters up and stuff. I do want to go back a little bit to the Alice, because Moondog Davis did respond and says, Alice, a large ion collider experiment is the acronym. What that acronym means. is one of 9 detector experiments at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. The experiment is designed to study the conditions that are thought to have existed. Okay, so that's just confirmation there. Yeah, they work with on an Alice project at the. This is alleged. I don't know. This is alleged. I've been told they do at the Oak Ridge Lab. Actually, it's on their website, so it's not alleged. It's on their website. Go to their website, Oak Ridge Labs in East Tennessee, y'all. You find it. Okay, let's get to some of
By
this
the way,
data.
I'm not from Alabama. Whoever thought that? Not even
Sovereign.
freaking close, man.
I live by Alabama. I do a lot of research over in Alabama too, so I'm in Alabama a lot. He might have gotten us confused. I'm the one with the southern accent.
Cobb County.
I go to Cobb County sometimes. Big boss man. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Did you want me to show these pictures of these other orbs that you had here tonight? Because these look a lot like what we're going to be talking about tonight.
You know, that picture is a close-up, I believe, of another picture that I gave you, another orb that Kira, that one Kira had sent to me, that's in the chat lounge. She's in the chat this time. She had taken that picture one of the year I met her at a SETI. Yeah, and you would see orbs and stuff like that at a SETI all the time. And that's a good picture. And, you know, it's ones like that is why I had you remote view that orb station that is inside of Mount Adams, that is actually scanning people's life experiences. And then it's producing it's an orb that actually might be even microscopic. But once it gets within your biofield, it does something to push your consciousness forward. Does something you haven't experienced. I saw a Sasquatch walking out there, it just disappeared. Or I saw that ship and it went in the mountain, or something happens to you out there. You know what I mean? It's that orb station producing those orbs that do it. And Rudy Shields, when I did some work with him, he was describing to me having actually calculations, him and these other quantum physicists, that they thought that actually attached the Mako to our individual molecule. So Mako is in black hole, wormhole, whatever you want to call it, to our individual molecule. Thus, when we have these civilizations that are able to consciously teleport themselves through the black holes, through their own bodies, their own biofield, we're dealing with something like that. Okay, that's another time we've heard about a lot. There's supposed to be some brothers that can do that are a galactic species. So anyway, you know, just these are things I'm throwing out, food for thought for people.
Yeah, the last show we did together, people were saying that we're all going to leave full and have to go take a nap from all the food for thought we had all taken in that night. Okay, everybody was full because it was so great. I mean, that was the drone show last week. Okay, that was the drone where I had done the remote viewing target on the drones, and the 2 for the 1950s UFOs as well. So that was a great show, Barry. And
thanks. It was fun.
Yeah,
they're all fun. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm honored to work with you, because you know some of the individuals we encounter in this field are nefarious. It's not fun anymore. You know what I mean? And you do a lot, and you do a variety of a lot of different stuff, more than just me. You know what I mean? You do a lot of different stuff, a lot of different topics, and that's really cool. And I think that's what people like and crave a little bit. And you're on it all the time, man. Several times a week, every week.
I gotta
take my hat off to you. You know how much testicular fortitude it takes me to just go live? A ton.
I know. I love it. You know what? To me, this is like my social time and like getting to hang out and stuff, you know, and just having fun. I mean, this is every girl's dream. I mean, not every girl wants to go out and chase Bigfoot and Dogman. Okay, but this is awesome. I love doing this. We have wonderful people here, and Kira's in the chat. Actually, we were just showing you a picture, Kira.
Yeah, that was her picture. Yeah, if you want to show it again.
She
sent that to me and said I could show it in one of my videos. So I did a video with that. Yeah, I'm sure that's hers. And she took that at that ranch, and it just more proved, you know, for example, real quick, you know, she was one of the people there when we had to do the second year I spoke out there, we had to do a sky watch. Everybody that spoke had to do a sky watch. And Barry Littleton's really not into the Skywatch thing. It's just not my deal. And I could tell how people were like judging, like the guy that owned that place was judging like Greer. When Greer called him out to the contact in the desert, he came out, he cleared the skies. And I had 33 show up. And I was like, okay, these people are judging your amount of contactedness on how many ships show up when you do this. So I had everybody do this before we went out when it was my day to do that. I had everybody do this pineal gland exercise, okay, from Dr. Thine. And you have so many people like Kira in that audience that are psychics and mediums and contactees or all three. And we get done with that. I just wanted the edge just so everybody go out. Maybe they'd see some stuff with open pineal gland. But right as soon as it was over, before you can go out, people, because it was hard for me to show it when I do, people were saying, well, I'm seeing a grid. I'm seeing, it looks like a tic-tac-toe board. And I heard like several people in there were saying that after the exercise. And I knew what it was. It's that field of energy being generated by that device inside Mount Adams that's scanning people's life memories and then presenting something to you through those orbs that pushes you forward. You know, so that's why I say if anybody gets a chance to go out to that place, go out there. Check it out. You might activate that thing.
Yes. Okay. I want to
activate you. Sorry.
Okay. Before we get to the data, I have two things. Okay. And these are, one of them is going to be pertinent to the data. Okay. The other is to wish Alaha, is that how you say your name? Alaha and Maureen here a happy birthday. I forgot to tell Maureen happy birthday at the end of the show yesterday. I want to wish both of y'all a very happy birthday, and anybody else who's having a birthday this week, happy birthday. Okay. You guys, I hope you'll have a wonderful, wonderful day and week. Okay. And I love you all. Thank y'all so much for being here. Okay. Before we go to the first target, there is something that I flashed on the screen earlier, and it involves a crop circle and a message that was in the crop circle. Now, this is interesting, okay? And I just want to I want to make note of this before we get into this target. And the message, we'd mentioned the message that came through in the session where I was remote viewing the orbs over the crop circles. Okay, well, this actually, a university mathematician decoded this crop circle with binary codes and this extraterrestrial face. Okay, in 2002, in a field near Crabwood, Winchester, Hampshire, England, this famous crop circle appeared overnight, and it's been exhaustively filmed, documented, photographed, and researched by multiple people all over the world. It's intricate, remarkable, and very complex, and it's sewn into the crop field. Let's just say that a guy named Mike, I can't see tonight, y'all. Mike Pitkonen, I think is his name, a physicist from the University of Helsinki in Finland. He published a paper on crop circles and life at parallel space-time sheets, and examined the crop circle. And they actually decoded what this says. Okay, and I think this is really interesting. The message is coded using a 9-bit code, and that 8-bit portions obey ASCII code, with the assumption the message reads, "Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time." And there's one word. It looks like it should say Eliv, but it says EELI exclamation point UVE. It says, "There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing." Okay, it's a warning, basically. It's just a message to let people know, okay, we're here. Beware of people who are lying, okay, and bearing false gifts and broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Okay, I think that's really interesting. Okay, it's one of those messages. Similar. I'm not going to say it's the same message that I got, but it's something kind of similar. And what I find really interesting, Barry, is in this first target, the third thing I wrote down was binary code. Okay, binary code, which is really interesting. Okay, and we're talking about, we started the show off tonight talking about the crop circles and orbs and everything. You gave me 2 targets. Now, they do stem off of this. I remember sending this to you, actually, when all this started coming out, and I sent you a screenshot. And I think this has something to do with my target, right, Barry?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
that and the others. There's been a bunch of plasma deals like that seen recently too. And they
Hmm.
seem to, some of them seem to have been popping up. When you look it up, they seem to be popping up with the drone sightings. I mean, not with the drones always together, but time frame wise.
Hmm. Okay.
And
Okay.
so the target was this. What
First-
are these plasma? And then the other was, what's their origin?
Oh, okay.
So
That's
yeah,
very interesting.
so that way it really kind of covers the whole thing. And of course, the first thing I always wonder, is it real or is it just people CGI at us? That's the first question, of course. Well, I
Yeah.
think you got that.
Yeah. Really interesting. Okay, I'm going to go through some of this data tonight, and I just want to show you. I got the pictures up on the screen. I do want to show a picture of my drawing. Wait, hold on. Let me take this down. Hold on, I gotta find it. Okay, I want to show a picture of the drawing, which is my stage 3. I think this is really interesting. It kind of looks like an orb a little bit, like a whole bunch. It looks like a bunch of little orbs that make into like one big orb, kind of like or drones. I don't know. Okay, just a bunch of circles though. All right, so here's the very first bit of my data. I'm going to go through the sensory data. That's the important stuff. Okay, so I got into this target. I wrote intelligent, artificial, new, fuzzy, pixelated, curved, circular, confused, abolished, polished, shiny, pretty, glimmering, green, light, lit. That was my sensory data. Okay, which I find pretty interesting. Glimmering, green light, lit, polished, circular, pixelated, fuzzy. That really does describe what we're looking at right here, if you ask me. So with my analytic overlay, okay, that's in my box that it's kind of, I'm trying to make sense of what I'm experiencing, right? I wrote digit. I'm just going to go through some of it. Okay, this is all in my Patreon if you want to see all of my data. But I was picking up on something digital, and I wrote code, and then I wrote binary code. I also was seeing what it looked to me. I was seeing something that was pixelated, so I wrote pixel in Fortnite. Okay, like all of the characters in Fortnite are like pixelated. Like that's what I thought I was looking at.
Oh, sorry, I guess. What's Fortnite?
It's a video game where kids. It's mostly kids play it, I guess, but it all the characters look like they're pixelated. Um, it's kind of blurry. My son, I don't know. I've never played it. I know they dig for treasures and stuff. You got to mine. There's a mining game. You got to go mine.
It says somebody was in chat. Are they messing with me in chat? It says fart. Is it fart? Or is it fort? Which one?
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
It's Fortnite.
That was a good one.
Oh yeah, it's Minecraft. Oh, I wrote Fortnite. I'm thinking of Minecraft. Okay, I wrote the wrong game now. Actually, you're right. Fortnite is the dancing game, but I remember thinking Minecraft, but I wrote Fortnite. Oh, because my son learned a Fortnite PS5. That's why I wrote that down. But I was thinking Minecraft. I wrote the wrong thing down. It's actually Minecraft, but I wrote down Fortnite, but I meant Minecraft because that's what I was seeing with the pixelated. Man, see y'all see. I don't know the first thing about video games hardly. So thank you. It's Minecraft. I wrote Fortnite though, but I meant Minecraft. Okay, so that's what I meant. Fartnite. Sovereign likes Fartnite. He likes to talk about that. I know he liked that. I know it. I see those comments in there, Sovereign.
It reminds me of that guy that played Michael Rosenbaum on Smallville. He's got a book out about him farting. Anyway, sorry.
We're changing the algorithms. Okay, we're changing the algorithms to include
let's go back to the data.
Fortnite the battle. Well, you know what? Maybe I wrote down Fortnite, but I was thinking Minecraft. But I wrote down Fortnite. Maybe there's a reason. You know what I mean? Maybe there's something to Fortnite. Maybe it was a Fortnite. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know how long a Fortnite is. By the way, I have no idea. Okay, so pixels. I wrote Fortnite. I was seeing something that was very circular, and I actually wrote down map and map maker, like a map maker. that'd be interesting if these things are like plotting out mapping something out. Okay.
It is interesting.
Because I actually wrote, oh, that's the next thing I wrote. I wrote plotting and plot. So I was seeing something that was like, and I wrote down taking notes too. So something that's taking notes, it's plotting out maps, it's plotting something like that. Whatever I was looking at was plotting something out. I wrote, ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so I haven't even looked at my data since I did this. I won't lie. I wrote, it was taking notes, something about shiny things, glimmer. I wrote glimmer man because I was seeing something that was glimmery and shiny. I actually heard clairaudiently, I heard takeout. And underneath that, I wrote weapons and drones. And nuisance. I wrote nuisance. I didn't know how to spell nuisance. I spelled it wrong, so I knew I spelled it wrong. But I wrote takeout, weapons, drones, and nuisance. I actually wrote that in my analytic overlay. I love these blind targets. It's so cool. You know, and that's wild because
you explain exactly what you just said. What does that mean to you? I mean, that last little cluster of stuff you just said, taking out web.
Okay, so you asked me that before, and I said it reminds me of what I was looking at. Reminded me of the UFOs over nuclear plants. That's what I told you. Remember, I was like, you said, "What do you think this is?" And I said, "Well, it was reminding me of the UFOs over the nuclear plants." That's something else that you and I have talked about, and I've remote viewed that too. I forgot about that one.
And yeah, and you know what that was?
Pictures of that.
That was us being aided by others, showing they have control of that if possible. That it won't happen. Because you got actually, that was another one of the positive targets, because that's one that I had to buckle my seatbelt because it could have went any way. What you saw, and that target was the origin of what was doing that in those craft.
Yeah.
What was their origin?
Okay. So those pictures that I just showed, the first one was actually a craft that was spotted in Mexico over a nuclear plant. This one is in Israel over a nuclear plant. There was a UFO there over that plant. This is in India. They spotted a UFO over a nuclear facility. And this, I do believe, is I had a picture of Fukushima too. I'm not exactly sure where this one is. I didn't write the name down of where this one is, but I had we have pictures of them in the United States as well. I think that's the one that you gave me a target to do. But there's actually pictures of UFOs over, and they're orbs. They're always orbs. They look like they're orbs over Fukushima and places like that. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling.
And what you're seeing there, just for verification. What you're seeing there are some of these orbs destroying drones. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I wrote down. I don't know. Okay, this was the how it was organized on my paper. Okay, like as I'm saying one thing, I go down the page, right? So I'm going down the page with everything that I write. It goes down. Okay, so you can see my line, my train of thought. Is that what you call it? My train of thought. And so I wrote takeout. I heard takeout. And then underneath that I wrote because at that point is when I was seeing, I wrote green light and something that was lit. So I was seeing a green light and lit. And so that was when I wrote takeout, and then weapons, drones, and a nuisance underneath it. Weapons, drones, nuisance. That was my stages 1 through 3. Okay, and I showed you the drawing, the little sketch I made. Okay, so the next page we go to stage 4. This is more analytic overlay. It's more sensory data, and I got some analytic overlay. The first thing I wrote down on this page was I heard clairaudiently. This was stemming from the first page. Weapons formed. Weapons formed, and then I wrote down digital wrap like RAP or WRAP. I don't know what that means, but that's what I wrote down. And then I wrote down something that was long, and like just really long or lengthy. I wrote down physical form. Okay, it was something physical, and then I personally started feeling like an energy shift in my energy when I was remote viewing this, and so I wrote down that I got goosebumps, I got cold, and I started feeling really tired as I was remote viewing this. And then I was seeing something that was at night. I think it was at nighttime. So I wrote down dark outside. It was like dark outside, but I wrote down highly visible command center. Okay, there was a command center, a commando. I wrote commando and command center. And that actually, the last thing I wrote on this page was controlled opposition. Okay, so controlled opposition. Then I go to the third page, still stage 4. I wrote some of my sensory data was like packed and picked, and I heard clairaudiently. I heard packed light or pack light, and picked through, packed light, picked through, and processed. Something that was remote. And I started picking up on like electronic data, and I wrote motherboard. And then I picked up on a controlled ship or a controlled vessel. I wrote vessel and ship, but it was something that was being controlled by a motherboard or some sort. I don't know. There was motherboard and like something that was electronic was in there, which to me points towards something man-made. Okay. So I was definitely getting like sky data, right? Like sky, because I was like in the open air. The controlled ship and vessel, I wrote down permanent and after that, so something was permanent. I also, okay, so the last bit of my data for this target was open air, sky's the limit. And then I actually wrote down Anunnaki and star people. And then I heard to shut it down. Like I was actually told to like shut this target down. And so I did. And I ended the session. But yeah, I literally wrote down Anunnaki and star people. And that was the end of the session right there. What do you think about that, Barry? Did anything stand out?
Well, I mean, you're describing these. So these, what I want to know, these are not the plasma that we saw that I didn't think it was that we're seeing that we're making crop circles or the other stuff we went over. This is something different. These appear to be man-made. Excuse me.
Man-made.
It's getting late. Man-made. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. And that they're actually, you know, when you spoke about some of those things, and I just talked about this, maybe it was on the last show you and I did, or just recently. These, you said mother, like motherboard. That takes us into a system that is similar to like what Anthony Sanchez talks about in that book, UFO Highway. He starts talking about the most advanced nanosatellites. Anybody can look up the nanosatellites and see like the nanosatellite yearly challenge and all that type of stuff. But he described these nanosatellites that were much more advanced, that were both self-replicating and self-repairing, and that they were controlled by this system that was above, higher, called Mother. And what Mother did, gave not just instructions, but also provided the materials for the self-repairing and for the replicating of these nanosatellites. So, you know, when you talk about that, you're talking about a type of a system they've back engineered that is producing plasma, or, you know, this might even take us into also them trying to control portals too. That same type of a technology that they're using that to, it sounds like somebody's using that to attack these drones. And that worries me because that takes us into, are these drones being attacked that are carrying some type of a pathogen?
Well, that's scary. Could be. Yeah, we're getting bombarded by a lot of stuff. We have been for a while. Everything's dangerous, it seems like. It's just a dangerous time to be alive. I guess. But
yeah, I mentioned that earlier. They're pure conscious craft, is what they are. Pure conscious craft. They're organic craft. They're also condensed light craft, and also plasma craft. So then you got, of course, the metal bolts and nuts and bolts, but those are the main categories, and organic craft too. But pure conscious craft, you have to understand that when sometimes in the belly of one of these craft, that you have several different species that are consciously putting together one of these craft and manifesting it. in the belly of another craft. You know, there's a ship between us and the moon that sometimes is above Earth, but more normally it's between us and the moon that they call the lenticular craft. And what it is this huge ship that actually reproduces in that way. But a lot of people are going there at night and getting training. And it's not an SSP type of thing. This is something different going on with some of these star races, with some of these people that have hybrid genes here and even more, which we all have anyway, but things are changing here. And it's amazing. I've actually had some clients that start describing this to me during regression. So again, food for thought. So anyway, back to the data. I don't want to interrupt that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, let me get to the next target. But so that was the first target. Okay, so that would explain what they are. Now, you wanted to know the origin. The second is the origin, right? The second target.
Yeah. But by the way, I guess that rules out it was CGI. So maybe we might get off easy on that one, but I guess not.
It's not CGI. Okay, well, I don't know. Okay, so here we go with this. Now, I do want to, I guess I'll go over the data, then I'll show you some of the pictures that I have here of some of the work that drones can do. Or should we just show it now? Let me just show it now. Okay, because I was flipping through, I don't know if it was TikTok or something, and someone had posted, okay, so it was like, it looks like a grid kind of thing. It's got like drone, like propellers on it, right? This is like a big old drone, I guess. And I just have still shots. This is from, what is this guy's name? The real Jason Shurka. Okay, thanks, Jason Shurka. I'm borrowing your shout out to him. Y'all go follow him, okay, on TikTok. And but anyways, this is a cool video. If you guys want to go check it out. And the propellers start, spinning really fast, and it creates a hologram. Okay, it creates a hologram, and this hologram starts moving around and stuff. And imagine if this is in somebody's, office or living room or wherever this is. Looks like sacred geometry, but it's 3D. Okay, and it can move around. And imagine if they have this kind of stuff up in the sky, what all they can do, right? This is for entertainment purposes only tonight. But just really, we need to be aware of all this. I didn't know this existed, really. So, anyways, it looks very holographic. Yeah,
reminds me of that when they have those sands, or that, and they can like put that vibration, and they start making those different patterns. So I don't know what that's called, though. Sorry.
Yeah. Edgar says laser splitters are old tech. Okay, I don't know. That may be a laser splitter. I don't know what that is, but yes, it's real estate. Shurka is loaded. Okay.
He put a dog on it. That's cool.
I know, right? It's old tech. I know. I'm like, I'm behind the times here. I don't know if that's what that is or not. Yes.
Hey man, I had a really cool plasma ball. I had a couple of them.
Oh yeah, and for people who didn't grow up in the 90s and the early 2000s, I have some pictures of plasma balls too. This is what Barry's talking about. This has come up in my data at least once or twice. These plasma balls right here, and this is something that every teenager had one of these in their bedroom, pretty much. You could get them at Hot Topic back in the day, or where else? I don't know. Just any kind of science store had these, and you put your hand on it, and the electricity like moves through your hand, and or the plasma, I guess. Those are pretty cool, and go ahead.
So when looking at that, something to kind of compare that is actually, what what our chakras actually are is energy vortexes. Okay, there's a guy named Leadbeater. They used to do these paintings, and it would be paintings of like different forms of plasma that are kind of similar to our chakras. Actually, it's real interesting if you start looking at the comparisons between that.
Yeah.
And these energy vortexes that we have in our own body. It's interesting.
Wow. That's really cool. Okay, so this is the origin of the plasmoids. Is that what we call them? Plasmoid orbs that people are seeing here. Some that we had the pictures of there. Okay, so I'm going to go. This is so interesting. Here's the sensory data right off the bat. My stage 1 sensory data: red, orange, pink, oblong, round, circular, damaged, broken, clear, elevated, jolted, and shot. That was my sensory data. Okay. I'm just going to go through some of my analytic overlay here. It's pretty interesting. I was seeing pastels is what I wrote down, like pastel colors. Kind of looks like, okay, that's, well, I'm not saying that's that, but pastels, it could be. These are some of the ores where I was remote viewing here. I wrote down, I kept getting a lot of hydrogen data. I mean, it was all throughout this entire session. I wrote hydrogen, hydrogels. I was seeing something that was like pill shaped. I wrote UFO and UFOs, hologram, holographic, see-through, high up, higher ups. Something else I wrote. I wrote transcend, bulk, mass, and I wrote mass projection. And then I wrote coronal projection. Okay, mass projection, coronal projection, sun. And then I wrote down amoeba, because what I thought I was looking at was like a drawing of an amoeba. Okay, so that's what I wrote. And my stage 3 drawing looks similar to like an amoeba, but being shot out, like something shooting out of it. Like almost like the sun, I guess. It's almost like I was seeing like a sun with like coronal projections coming off of it. That's what I thought I was looking at. So that was my first page of data right there. What do you think so far, Barry?
I mean, I almost want to reserve to see what overall you think it is, but I'll say something that you said that sticks out to me. You said hydrogel.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about one of the substances that they're using now that's called aerogel. And aerogel is used to kind of try to do warp physics right now around some of these craft or the man-made craft, to try to put this aerogel around them so that they can possibly do different types of speed that are close to light speed and different things. Very interesting. And even there's been some scientists that have said that they think some of these UFOs, UAPs that are more just a little above us, man-made, are using a type of aerogel. I don't know, that just came to my mind. So whatever the system is using is a hydrogel, somewhat similar to, I don't know. That just stuck out to me for some reason.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Very, could be pertinent to all this. Okay, so I went from kind of like the sun, like amoeba, sun, coronal projections, to my stage 4 data, which is like my next page. Some of my sensory data was fighting and open. I even picked up on a vessel, and I wrote what looks like a triangular craft or something. I can show you. This is like part of my data right here.
Boy, it looks like a TR-3B.
Jeez. But I kept, okay, so that is not, I actually on the next page too, I actually wrote something similar there. I kept seeing that same triangular craft shape. I kept seeing this all through this. But that was, okay, we're gonna get to that. Okay. But I was seeing it looked like a triangular craft. But before I get to the craft, I have some data that I got before that. Okay, so I wrote warriors, regulators. So I did channel a rap song or some like hip hop. I channeled Nate Dogg and Warren G. Regulators. Okay.
I was wondering what song was going to come up.
Okay, so yes, I admit, because I know people that are on my Patreon are going to see this, so I had to explain it. I wrote Nate Dogg and Warren G on my data, and it's regulators. So I heard regulators mount up. Okay, but I wrote regulators. Okay, so here's where it gets juicy. Okay, I wrote open defense tactics. That was included in the data. Open defense tactics, Department of Defense, DoD. Just wrote DoD. That's where the vessel came into play. And I wrote airplane or drone. I thought I was seeing an airplane or a drone. I wrote drone and airplane. Something that was silent. Silent night, I wrote down. And then I wrote down foiled, like something that got like uncovered or foiled. And I heard foiled again by those pesky kids. I heard that again. I heard that. And I wrote it down. I wrote down Scooby-Doo because I was like hearing, I was felt like I was like in the middle of like a Scooby-Doo episode. It was like, I'm fooled again by those pesky kids or whatever. But I wrote down, I drew that, what looked like a triangular craft, like a window on the top or something, a circle in the middle. And I wrote ship, and I wrote holographic ship. Holographic ship.
Hmm.
What do you think? Okay, that was my second page. What do you think about all that?
Is there a third page?
Yeah, there's a third page.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's more. There's a lot more. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I saw the ship. I wrote holographic ship, and then part of my sensory data was blasted, and I wrote hydrogen bomb. I wrote upper West Coast, upper East Coast. And then I started picking up on fat. I heard the word gordo. I think that's fat in Spanish. I think, or like fat baby or something. I don't know. I wrote fat and gordo in there, but I was seeing something triangular again. I kept picking up on something that was triangular. And I picked that up as when I saw it, it was something solid and heavy. And I actually wrote down, God, I don't know if I can say this on, I already said it once, but on YouTube, it's a BOMB, okay, or a missile. So I've seen like a missile or that, and I wrote energy weapon and radiation. That's what I wrote down. I wrote contact or code. I don't know what code X is, but I wrote down codex or code X. I wrote it both ways. Code X.
Oh man, there's somebody in there.
Yeah. I wrote code. Okay, so codex and codex, CODEX, and I wrote code X. And I wrote down diffused. Okay, diffused. And then I was like feeling confused, and then I literally blanked out for a second during this target because I wrote blanked out in what I was experiencing. So I kind of like blanked out. Yeah. And I wrote down diffuse the situation. And then I heard clairaudiently, I heard it'll be okay. It'll be okay. And then I wrote down, I started crying. So it overwhelmed me. Whatever this was overwhelmed me so much it made me cry. And I felt overwhelmed and I had goosebumps again. So I ended the session at that point because it was like kind of too much for me. So like I just kind of ended it right there. So I went from feeling like I was seeing like an airplane or a drone that looked like this to identifying what I was looking at as a bomb or a missile or something. So so that's what I thought I was remote viewing. I mean, that was my remote viewing data. So if you were to ask me what I think this is here, there's something that's like our government is aware of, I do believe. This is for entertainment purposes only. We're just kind of throwing ideas out there. Something that I think they're aware of. I mean, I was getting like DoD information and like data, and but yeah, energy weapons and hydrogen stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Right now, this is cool because right now I'm trying to be like a person for the audience. So, okay, yeah. Question. So, okay. First question is: do you feel overall that this is a negative thing or a positive thing? Like the origin of this and this whole deal, do you feel like it's negative or positive? This one.
Okay, I think this is very negative in a lot of ways, but I was told at the very end that it's going to be okay and the situation will be diffused. Everything will be diffused. Whatever this is will be diffused. Is what I kept getting. That was at the so I got all this stuff. It got really dense there for a minute because it was like I picked up on some really bad stuff, and then it got overwhelming, and I literally heard it will be okay. Moondog said Code X Aero Club term. Oh my God! See, y'all, I don't know any of this stuff. That's how you know remote viewing is a real deal, man. Because I've never heard of any of this. It's just all in my data. That's an aero. Okay, it's got to do with airplanes and stuff, I guess. I love this stuff. I think it's great. It's also terrifying.
Secondly, the origin of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're describing as man is aware of it. People are like Big Brother, whoever's aware of it. So it's not them. Is this a human agency or is this something non-human? Or lay it on me, Jones. What do you?
Man, I think it's. Oh man, I want to say that whatever this is, I was getting more man-made than I was other. I was getting more man-made. Yeah. I mean,
so it's back engineered, man-made technology against back engineered man-made technology. That's what it sounds like. That came up in the earlier part of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It could be. I mean, they've been back engineering stuff for a long time, probably, Barry. Okay.
Just two different factions.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh. This is wild, right? This is so wild. I mean, you and I, okay, I want the audience to know Barry and I have not discussed this at all. I did these targets and I just dropped that. I have not looked at the data since I did this, y'all, except to put it on my Patreon. Okay. So I'm kind of like looking at this again for the first time tonight. So we're discussing this live on air. This is all kind of just, we're thinking out loud tonight, y'all. We're thinking out loud.
It's a lot of thinking, man.
A lot of thinking here. That's right. Hold on. I got to get my paper.
Another prime example. My butt biting off more than I can chew on some of these targets, man. God, I mean that takes another level. I mean, it's just the only solace I have in it is that at least it's just two human factions. That doesn't help.
Don't come knocking on my door, whoever's watching tonight, okay? I had to say that last week too. So, this is all for entertainment, y'all. I'm just having fun over here, okay? It's just a hobby.
All for unalivement.
It's a hobby. It's just a hobby.
Entertainment, yeah.
It's just a hobby. We're over here in this,
Oh man, gosh.
I know. I know. We're. Well, here's the thing. My throat's closing up. That's not a good sign. Here's the thing. Okay, this needs to be talked about, obviously, and we're too far deep. We're too deep into it now. I mean, the public needs to know. I mean, and it's just remote viewing data, y'all. It's just remote viewing data. Take it or leave it. It doesn't mean this is all 100% right. It's just remote viewing data, but it's really interesting data, right, Barry?
It's remote data that's definitely different than the data that you got for the crop circle, orbs, plasma spears. Different than the data you got for the ore station inside Mount Adams.
Yes.
It's been different for many of those. And all those were of different source to say. But this here is something man-made, right along with those drones. And it's very interesting. I mean, you're describing a type of a war going on between these back-engineered technologies made by people. And at what point is it like the crypto-terrestrials step into this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or are they already involved? This is their planet too.
That's right. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. We're going to try.
I guess this can kind of take us into this also. Since we're still here, let's talk about the Carrot program and the Chad Dragonfly drones.
Okay. Well, I want to show this real quick. Okay. I'm actually able to share my screen, y'all. I have really advanced in this stuff. Okay. All right. So this is what came out on December the 16th. The DHS, FBI, FAA, and DoD, which was in my data, by the way, joint statement on ongoing response to reported drone sightings. I just wanted to kind of show this. Okay, because it says the FBI has received tips of more than 5,000 reported drone sightings in the last few weeks, with approximately 100 leads generated, and the federal government is supporting state and local officials in investigating these reports. Consistent with each of our unique missions and authorities, we are quickly working to prioritize and follow these leads. We have sent advanced detection technology to the region. We have sent trained visual observers. Having closely examined the technical data and tips from concerned citizens, we assess that the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars mistakenly reported as drones. We have not identified anything anomalous and do not assess the activity to date to present a national security or public safety risk over the civilian airspace in New Jersey or other states in the Northeast. They recognize the concern among all the communities, but they continue to support state and local authorities with advanced detection technology and support of law enforcement. And here's a kicker. We urge Congress to enact counter UAS legislation when it reconvenes that would extend and expand existing counter drone authorities to identify and mitigate any threat that may emerge. And they said there's been a limited number of visual sightings of drones over military facilities in New Jersey and elsewhere, including within restricted airspace. Such sightings near or over DoD installations are not new. DoD takes unauthorized access over its airspace seriously and coordinates closely with federal, state, and local law enforcement authorities as appropriate. Local commanders, I wrote commanders and commando in my data, by the way, are actively engaged to ensure there are appropriate detection and mitigation measures in place. Okay. Well, let me stop sharing there. Okay. Interesting, right? They find no threat. Now, like I said last week, we're Americans, and Americans we shoot things down out of the sky. I mean, I've never known America not to shoot some kind of threat down, right? They're saying these are not threats. Whatever is out in their skies are not threats or whatever. That would indicate that's ours, right? The United States.
Somebody wants to fire and say, "Oh, it's not their planet." Concerning what I said about the crypto-terrestrials, prove it then. Because if you know what really the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis is, they've been here longer than Homo sapiens sapien. So why would it's not our planet either? So touchy one there. And as far as what you just said there, I mean, I guess that's about as much a quote unquote disclosure as you could wish to get, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole deal, that whole thing. You better throw in the entertainment for what is it? The entertainment deal on that. It's pretty heavy. That's a good discovery there. Scary one though, but a good one.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to mention this because President-elect Trump came out and did like a little, I don't know if it was a press conference or whatever, but he did say that he had been briefed on these. And he seemed to be pretty disappointed that the current administration was not disclosing what's really going on. And he did say that they do know what all this stuff is. And he said that the mystery has been solved. They're human-made drones. Those are human-made drones. Now we're talking about drones. You and I are discussing these orbs that are different, probably different, right? But some of those drones they were seeing, and let's just say that I did say what was really juicy or interesting that they were encouraging for legislation to be passed on drones. So it kind of makes me feel like, this is my opinion, for entertainment purposes only. It's my opinion that maybe they're creating this problem. Somebody's creating a problem so that legislation is made to restrict access to stuff or to make it harder for people to own drones or something like that. There could be like a multifaceted issue here. You know what I mean? Or a multifaceted problem, and they've got the solution, and it's to crack down on, our people having drones and stuff. I mean, it could be that too. I don't know. It's just my opinion. But yeah. So the Desolate One says that Linda Moulton Howe has not spoken on this yet. Yeah, I don't know.
She's kind of been doing a lot of. She's not putting out as much stuff as she did on Earth Files or anything. I think she's like almost 80 years old, isn't she? So that's might have something to do with that. Who knows?
Yes. Okay. You're mentioning the Dragonfly drones, and it says scary looking. Linda Moulton Howe investigated them too. So
she did probably the best investigation on those outside of the people on who was it? God, she did a good one too. But there's two people did a couple. In fact, we can go into that, the Dragonfly drones, because you had the whistleblowers that said that they worked for Carrot, and that those drones were Carrot technology.
What kind of technology? Carrot?
From Carrot.
Okay.
I gave you a picture that was Carrot.
Oh, let's see. Let's pull it up then.
And that's supposed to be a place that was a laboratory that was somewhere in Silicon Valley.
You sent me a picture. I don't see it. I might not have gotten it.
So it was the second email I had sent you.
Oh, I must not have pulled it up. I can try to pull it up while we're talking though.
Yeah, you can try if you want to. There's I gave you a picture of Carrot and the hold on, let me see here. Carrot stands for Commercial Applications Research for Extraterrestrial Technology. And what I sent you was supposed to be the Q486 research report. And along with that, I sent you several pictures of the Big Basin Dragonfly drones and also the Chad Dragonfly drone. And then I gave you some pictures. There were some schematics from Palo Alto Carrot. Excuse me. And they look a lot similar to crop circles. And also the symbols. One of the pictures I sent you was Big Basin Dragonfly drone with the odd box that was seen on the on the top of it, on the side of it. It's got these self-activating and self-repairing symbols on it as well. And the Carrot Laboratory has these diagrams and this manual that came forward that has stuff that looks similar to like it's on that. And supposedly the engineers said all those are for self-activating software. And some of that stuff is back engineered from either not Roswell, but there's Roswell and maybe Socorro. And there's that gentleman that we met initially. The first time I met was at he's in Grafton, the really tall redheaded cat with the red beard, man. Robert Orsi. You remember him? Yeah, he had something to do with his whole thing is he's had something to do with he had some of those fragments from I think it was Roswell itself or something. His family stayed back there. And most of what he seems like a lot of what he says has been sequestered also. So.
Well, I did not get your email, Barry. I'm so sorry. I'm looking for it, but I do have a Dragonfly drone that we can pull up right here. And it's not it. Yeah, let's see. Well, I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I'll write this down and I'll put when we get done in the video like comments underneath the main one. I'll put up a lot of these videos. I've got videos over the drones, and I'll put it up too, just so people can see all those pictures are in there. So.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, because I don't have those, but yeah, lots of talks of drones and stuff right now. And what blows my mind though is and it is a little scary getting that data that involves bombs and stuff like that, and all that hydrogen data, things are in the sky, and they're being threats right now. And it kind of actually goes along kind of with the narrative as to what's going on in the news. And I haven't really been following it. I know my mom follows it, and she gives me updates occasionally when we talk. And it's so one of the rumors is that these drones are in the sky because there was some kind of like nuclear, some kind of missiles or something that went missing, some kind of material, right? Like nuclear material went missing. And so they've got these drones up there searching for where it is. I think that's kind of like the outline of what's happening right now, what one of the rumors is. And this data actually kind of backs that up a little bit, if that's the case, I guess.
Or something about to be released.
Yeah.
That they're trying to stop, and there's some sort of conflict over.
That's true.
Which I guess nuclear goes along with that too. So it's complete disaster for everything.
Well, that's wild because I actually was pinpointing like areas too where it could be whatever was going down. I wrote upper West Coast and upper East Coast, upper West Coast, upper East Coast. So if you guys live up there, just don't live in fear, y'all, but just keep your head on a swivel.
It makes me wonder if people will start hearing the odd sounds again, the metal scraping sounds and the horns blowing. That was going on for a while, especially around, seemed like about 2005 to 2012. People were hearing that a whole lot. These weird science sounds. They might still. I don't know. I haven't checked the reports on that, but for a while it got pretty serious. People thought it was like they're healing. It was like Gabriel's horn or something, and then the metal scrapings that sound almost like. It makes you wonder because when they do these, you picked up hydrogen. You said that several times, hydrogen bomb in that also. And, that's the type of bomb there that rips into dimensions when they're exploded. And we've tested some of those things on this planet, and that would rip through dimensions and leave holes. What comes through, what comes to investigate, what seeps through that shouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like these large hadron colliders and even the bigger project that you've mentioned before. I mean, they say that those are opening portals and dimensions and stuff. And Barry, we mentioned briefly on last week, we mentioned the portals that they say the Pope is planning on opening up 5 portals on Christmas Eve or something. And I know they say, from what I remember, they said that it's like every 25 years, every quarter century they do that. But that's kind of weird too. That's weird to me. What are they doing?
Does he do that with the magic wand, or is it a CERN underneath the Vatican, or how exactly is that old ass man going to pull that off? I'm just curious.
You know what? There probably is a hadron collider under there. Who knows?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think
it's odd the amount of targets that you wind up sensing things underground the Vatican. I thought that was fascinating.
Right?
Because I'm not of course, this is, what do you say? What's to say? Entertainment
purposes only.
Yeah. But that's odd when that comes out. I'm not a religious man, so I don't know much about that. But when you said that, and some of the things I've heard about what's under there, especially technology-wise, is quite interesting. Sounds like it's better than the Smithsonian, what they're hiding.
Yeah. That was actually the missing 411 clusters. Where you gave me those targets, and it was like, what's going on? And I thought, I think the target was like, where are they? Where are they going? And I thought that I was remote viewing. What I told you is I felt like I was at Fort Knox or like under the Vatican or under the Smithsonian. Like I was under some big place. It was like, and it was like Fort Knox, but it was a deep underground kind of a facility. Is where I was. And gosh,
submarine passages you were saying were connected to there also, weren't they? To some degree, you saw submarine passages under some places we know that are supposed to be underground bases, but also I thought you saw some that were connected to under the Vatican too, or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think that was part of my analytic overlay with that was the basement of the Vatican, or like underground under the Vatican or something. It was like analytic overlay because I was trying to make sense of what I was looking at, what I was seeing. So yeah. Yeah. But I also wrote down Fort Knox too, because it was so heavily guarded. And yeah.
I hope what everybody is saying is right. Oh, the evil ones are getting put out of power, and that's going to come to an end, and everything's going to be utopia and peace and love. And, I hope that happens. Because right now, all the stuff we uncover does not seem like the good is winning down here at all, man. I mean, it's not, we got a long road to go. I'm not trying to be negative, but, even going back to, you remember the target I gave you about the Shadow Man? Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
The Hat Man.
Hat Man. Yeah.
That was a particularly good target.
That was interesting. I mean, I feel like did I pick up on Time Traveler or something? I can't remember. I can look it up right now.
Yeah, look at
I can look up the data right now. Let's look it up.
I remember us discussing that the foremost authority on the Hat Man, as far as I know anyway, is Heidi Hollis. Every now and again she'll send me a private message on Facebook, but she was the first person I heard talking extensively about the Hat Man and also the Hood Man, the hooded figure. And as it's gone on, she's wrote a couple of books on it. And she said that she's convinced that, to quote kind of like Dennis Carroll, that they're demonic and they're conjured and things like that. And I myself have seen the Hat Man when I was younger. Didn't do anything to me, but I saw it. And it was not it was disconcerting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was meant to feel that way,
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Urso is mentioning I wrote Shimmer Man down in the data for these orbs that I remote viewed for that session. He says, "What about these shimmering ones? You mentioned them as a threat to orbs." That's interesting. I do have the data right here for the Hat Man, and it does involve a time tunnel. Okay, I can read you some of my analytic overlay here. Because what I was seeing was something with an elemental or an element. I wrote down eye shine, eyes, collective data, data worthy, weather manipulator, self-correcting and course correcting, electrical and time tunnel. And I wrote what looks like it's like a bunch of, almost looks like a wormhole or something is what my sketch was for that. But a course corrector, okay, and it was something with the underbelly, darkness, probing and exploring. It had a scientific itinerary. I actually wrote coronavisor for this too, and teleportation and teleport and coronavisor were in and probing as well. Probing, exploring the underbelly is what I wrote. So, but there's a scientific itinerary with the coronavisor and teleportation involved. That's the Hat Man. That was that Hat Man data. Isn't that wild?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was so wild that I forgot that's what you were going over for just a second. I was like, which one is she talking about again? Yeah, it's the Hat Man. Yeah, it's the Hat Man. Yeah. It comes to a point of where, somebody, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted because somebody said something incredibly heavy, but it went by so fast. And they were saying, they put my name on there and it said something about the Library of the Vatican or something. It was really pretty intense, but it went by so fast.
I'll see if
you got some really sharp people in there that know a lot of stuff, something I never heard of before. Like you have to get to try to see the Vatican or something. There it is. There it is.
Can you read it out loud, Barry? I'm gonna pull up a picture while you can read that.
Yeah. Barry, by the way, it said that those pictures about the drone sent to you. I just checked it.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll double check.
It might have been too much. Barry, to my knowledge, all secrets are kept at the Vatican by diplomatic request. You visit their library and got to know what it is you want to see. Again, I ask why. Wow. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I was gonna.
We live in such a contrived world. I was looking at that thing about Don Monroe again, and the pictures he had of those red-headed giants at Lovelock. Sorry, that cave.
There's Hat Man.
Yeah, there you go.
There's Hat Man. For people who are wondering,
time traveler, huh? Is he a little Doctor Who going on?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are people in the audience who we did that show a long time ago, and so I'm sure people are wondering what the heck is Hat Man? That's Hat Man. It's actually a shadow being, a shadow person that has a hat. I know people personally who have actually encountered the Hat Man. Jesus Payan Jr. had pictures of Hat Man in his home. So, yeah, this is a real phenomenon, and it seems as though this is a course-correcting time traveler. According to my data, I mean, these blind targets, you can't make this stuff up, okay? And so I love doing this.
Did you pick up, did you pick up that also that's a gatherer, other shadows gather around that one?
No.
That's a leader shadow? So I
No, it was.
apologize. I wasn't listening to everything you had said because I was tripped out on the geniuses in the chat. I apologize.
I know it was. I was picking up on like weather manipulation and self-correcting, course correcting, time tunnels and time travel, and probing and exploring like the underbelly, and having like some kind of scientific itinerary, the coronavisor and teleport. Okay, that was like some of the main aspects of that.
Hey, do you think, and somebody might have asked that during the show, do you think there may be remote viewers from somewhere else?
Yeah. Wizard Moon says, yeah, Hatman apparently is a leader of the other shadow entities.
That's what Holly says.
I've had people ask, I mean, okay, well, you and I both know that everyone's definition of remote viewer is completely different, right?
Yeah, it seems that way, my friend.
I'm just gonna say my definition of remote viewer is different than about, I'm gonna say at least 50% of the population. They don't know. I'm not gonna say they don't know what remote viewing is, but my definition is different because I've been trained in different modes of remote viewing. Okay. And some people just like do like psychic insight and call it remote viewing, and that's not remote viewing to me. Okay. So I don't know. I mean,
you got a lot of that going on right now, and
why?
most people don't
Yeah.
know how to discern the difference. So
Yeah.
somebody could just say, "Oh, I'm a remote viewer," and they're not doing anything like you're doing. They're not been trained like you've been trained, and they might even type something up. Oh, type something up as a document, and that makes it really official. But it's not even the real data that, like, I've seen it. I've seen this going on.
Well, I mean, but people can turn it on like shows like mine. They see I have all this data, so they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna write down what I'm seeing," and then they're like remote viewers. It's just weird to me, but it's okay. I'm not judging, okay, but I'm just saying that's not the definition of remote viewer. Is not, it varies. What is? I think Edgar in the chat wrote it says perspectives vary. Okay,
that's strictly astral vision.
yeah,
Hey,
it'd be great if it's all about labeling. And like I know as a remote viewer, we're not supposed to label, but I know what remote viewing is because I do it. I've done it for a long time, and so it's different than like looking into something psychically and then calling that remote viewing because it's not the same. Yeah, I'm getting
something
heated.
about that last statement there. That's good. And Holly says that too. Now, I'm by no means an authority on shadows, okay? But when I had seen them and had a few experiences, the ones I saw, I mentioned before that I saw the ones that were spherical, then the ones that were oval, that were bigger. And I also had seen what they call the flyers, or the jumpers, the one that hurl themselves across the air, and they're dense. When they land, they're like boom, you hear it, and they're big. They're much bigger. They're 3 times the size of any of those others. And to my knowledge, those are the ones that are more the leaders, opposed to Shadow Man might be too, but I don't know. Those flyers are a serious problem. The flyers are the ones that consume our luminosity and our awareness and keep us kind of nullified out. They're constantly eating the luminous cocoon that surrounds us, our aura, and the aura that surrounds there. That's why when you see a baby has a sheen around its luminous cocoon. What happens to that? When you see people getting older, about teenagers, you see it maybe around their feet. It's not around their whole cocoon anymore. It's because those predators are eating it through negative, loosh, and all the stuff you want to say. All those words, but when you actually can see, you can see that stuff. And it's most disconcerting that makes you not want to see no more. It did for me.
Yeah. Yeah, Josephine, I like this comment that she put up. Someone remote viewing can appear as an orb too. And that's really interesting that you say that because I have had at least one instance where I do believe I was remote viewing myself. As weird as that sounds, I think I was. I was seeing little sparkly lights in the corner of my room, and something. It was almost like I must have gotten inside my head. It's like a deep mind probe and let myself know that was me there. And but it was I wouldn't say orbs, but it was like sparkly lights. Could have been tiny little orbs, but I did see sparkly lights in the corner of my room, and something intuitively told me that was me over there. And, to tell that to the normal person, they'd think I was a total crazy person. But see, I know people listening tonight, y'all probably understand. Y'all know we're all weirdos over here.
Some ships can also appear like that as well. And
Really?
I want to say, when people are looking for craft, sometimes pay attention, look on top of the water at night. If you've ever seen what looks like coming out of the water and going in or floating over it, it looks like glitter. And that glitter, a lot of times, those are that's like a swarm of craft. I've talked about UFO swarms and the mitosis, UFO mitosis. I say UFO, not UAP, UFO mitosis. But when dealing with that and some of these entities that deal with water, it's very much something to be aware of. Those glitter that you see sometimes around water. That could be swarms of UFOs that might be on not just a nano, but the pico scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. Gosh, we have so many great comments. I need to change my
Must have a lot of
contact.
people in there. I saw that comment earlier. It was gone so quick. I barely even saw it with my eyes, and it was gone. That's really cool, though.
We do. I am. I can't. It's hard to keep up, y'all. I'm sorry. This is really great. It's wonderful. We've got such a great audience tonight, and wonderful chat. I always say we have the best chat on the internet for sure, and the best moderators, and the best questions.
Wizard Moon 13th. I see sparks or flashes of light out of the corner of my eyes. I think Saturday at 3 p.m. Central, I'm going to go live for like 45 minutes, but I'm going to talk about invisibility. But one thing I'll include in that is that the peripheral vision is actually in black and white. We don't think it is, but it is. And that's why so often you'll see something like that in your peripheral. It seems like it's color, but really it's black and white. We see that. And when you know how the eye actually sees something, first the eye sees movement, then silhouette, shape, then color. So there's the eye, and also there's something called the LOS, the line of sight, which most people don't look. They look straight ahead, only up like 2 feet, down 2 feet, unless movement or something. It's just a common deal. So when you're dealing with things of invisibility, if you have something below or above the line of sight, distorted silhouette without color, you've already limited the vision of somebody just like that. It's not pleasant, but it is what it is. So you don't even have to try to do things that can be human invisibility. You can just trick the eye. The old saying that the hand is quicker than the eye.
Okay, yes, the desolate one. If I didn't know better, I'd say you're probably a remote viewer too, because that's interesting. Because yes, that is what I've been trained to do. Ignore. I always, if I'm remote viewing, I do ignore anything that's trying to get my attention. We don't associate with low vibing entities, and so that bleeds into my everyday life too. You don't pay any mind to the negativity, the negative entities when you're remote viewing. I try to do that in my everyday life either, Barry. That's a good lesson for everybody.
Come on, when that guy knocked on your door, you said let him on in that time. Come on, hey guy, come on in. You don't have no eyes, but come on in. I'm just kidding.
They were black eyes. He had black eyes. Yeah. He was a black-eyed adult, not a kid. That could have been bad. Why would I open my door to a strange man? You know what I mean? Like in the middle of the night. That was just dumb. So yeah, I do, looking back on that, I do feel like he was there to do surveillance on me or something. That's kind of the feeling that I got. So it's just like, I'm just checking in from the dark side on you. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was really weird.
No, I don't know. No, I don't know. No, I don't have those stop eyes by the demon. I'm good.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was either a demon or cracked out. I don't know. It was one or the other.
I think a lot of things with you, though, you start wondering now. Now you can start looking at your life. how many things were affecting to where you're going now or trying to stop it, what you're doing now.
Yes.
Certain things in your life are pushing that way. Other things are probably trying to stop it. Like, I want to say something now to a lot of people that sent me some emails about the last 5 to 7 days. I just backed off doing private sessions. I'm going to start it up again probably tomorrow. But I just had to kind of just regenerate a little bit. And I do have those forces that don't want me doing the work I do that's private. Definitely. So I got to make sure I keep myself protected, and therefore those that work with me are protected. So if anybody didn't get back with it in a few days, forgive me. I'll be hitting people up probably tonight and tomorrow and try to schedule people again and stuff. So I don't want anybody to think I'm a total flake.
You're talking to like the world's worst at getting back. I'm so bad about answering emails. I'm so sorry. I have not had one single day to like go and return emails and stuff. So I apologize, y'all. If anybody sent me messages and stuff, I'll get to them. I promise. I will. Victor says, I think I had a flyer fly out of my room when I was younger. It was like a big black mass. And I actually experienced that too. I actually had a big black mass, like a ball. It was like a cloud, but it was solid. And it flew out of my bedroom at that same house, that same apartment, that haunted apartment that I lived in downtown Atlanta off of Ponce de Leon Avenue, right across from the Claremont Lounge, by the way. And but it flew out of my bedroom, and it whizzed by me, and as it did, it pushed me, like the force of it knocked me down into my cabinets. Mm-hmm. And it went into the closet in my living room.
Did you hear? You hear anything but a whiz? You hear a thump or a thud?
Nope.
They're very dense.
That's me hitting the cabinet. It was me hitting the cabinet, and my cat meowing.
For whatever reason, they seem to be the most dense of those shadows, and they seem to make the most sound and be the most dense. When somebody had done something to where I experienced one, if somebody actually did something to where I was definitely going to experience one because I could see, but it was very disconcerting when I could hear it. And they started saying that you can hear it because it's dense. They're dense. They're the densest of the shadow beings. Wow, great. Where the heck are they from? Somewhere that's dense like Krypton? I just did a thing about it. I put out a video that my videos don't, it seems like the live is where it's at, but it was about Sasquatch and speed. And I had said that I think that Sasquatch actually can control what science is calling gravitons. And I kind of did something that's called, there's a book called The Science of Superman, like back in the 90s. And they were saying, like, that's not my favorite superhero, but hey, whatever. More of a Batman brother, but that's all right. Anyway, but this book was said like about all of his gifts and really how they would work scientifically, what's feasible and what isn't. And one thing would be why, if he's from Krypton, when he walked on Earth, just his first step on Earth, he would sink down to the center of the Earth because of his density. So why does that happen? And why can he fly and do that? It's because they can control their graviton emissions, the gravitons. And taking the comic book fantasy out of it, it makes me wonder if that's not an ability that somewhat Sasquatch has. Why they can make these impressions, these impressions on certain ground that somebody 300 pounds could jump up and down, not put anything on it. But these cats are making these footprints there. And that's showing something, and also their ability to move at lightning speed. I know animals can just do that. But like I mentioned before, when you watch that thing with M.K. Davis, Whitey's Run, I think it's called Whitey's Run Panned. Whitey's Run Panned. And that's the one where you can see him flipping on against the doing the backflip against the tree and then running. And that thing runs, and and that video, MK pointed something out. This thing is going blazing fast, Jessica. But when he points out, it's actually doing a fast walk. It's not running. So you know how fast that thing would be if it was running?
Yeah, like it would be a blur, probably.
And it's I enjoyed your little show with Vic Cundiff yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, since I got you right here one-on-one, and some people are gonna get mad at me, y'all get mad, but I wanted to ask the forbidden question. Vic Cundiff, are you melanin dominant? Because I kind of think he is. Is he a black man? I'm just curious. I really am. I feel that. And so I wonder if, and I can't see, he's doing the old John Forsythe, Charlie's Angels on us, where you can't never see his face.
Yeah, I don't know. And we will never know. I don't think we'll ever.
Somebody knows.
Okay.
It's not. I know it's not really supposed to be important, but I'm sorry. I'm a curious brother. I'm just curious. He's really cool, though. I think that was a good show. And what I really, really liked about it, Jessica, is you asked some great questions, and you two debunked a lot of myths concerning Dogman, especially the negative ones.
Yeah.
And he was a good person to have on there. He's probably taken more Dogman encounters than anybody, or encounters. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
But than anybody I could think of. And it's you were asking really good questions that he was saying certain things he had not heard ever, and they just didn't hold water. I thought that was really cool. We need more of that. That's reality versus all this fantasy stuff. And negativity sells. The negative sells. Not that it doesn't happen, but it sells so much better than any positive.
Well, I mean, that's how you get all the views on the channels, okay? And so that's how you'll notice, like, I mean, I have a wonderful channel, and my subscribers have really grown over the past couple of years. But there's some channels out there, they just put like Dogman attacks like all the time and stuff, and their channels are just blown up. Okay. I'm not saying that's why or anything. I'm just saying it's people love, like I asked Vic a long time ago, a while back. I said, why do you think that it's so popular? Why does Dogman surpass Bigfoot in ratings online on YouTube? Let's just say. And he goes, well, and he said, well, because I was talking about in regard to like Dogman attacks, right? And like the LBL and stuff. And I've covered it. I've remote viewed it. We've done it. We've talked about it a lot. And he goes, well, everybody loves to look at a car crash, basically, or a train wreck or something, is what he said. Everybody likes to look at it. Everybody's curious about it. And that made sense. Like, of course, that's why. Bigfoots are kind of like we've already established also Bigfoots. I've established Bigfoot's real. Okay, I've experienced them. We still go out in the woods all the time, do Bigfoot research, but I still haven't encountered a Dogman yet. And I think like if Dogmen are so prevalent, we would have like come across a Dogman. You know what I mean? At some point, as much research as we do out there. So I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting.
Something else that I couldn't jump in chat because I was driving most of the show yesterday. But he had said, we were mentioning that sometimes there's these instances where I believe Sasquatch is generating fear, especially in teenagers, because they're taking some of that to manifest or stay manifested.
Yeah.
And in the deal with the Dogman, he had commented that he didn't think that they did that. Because if that's the case, for them to rip somebody to shreds, if they're cannibals, there's no better way to get a bunch of adrenaline going than that right there, and to start doing that. But they're not doing that. So that that really kind of puts, as we say, serious food for thought into the pot. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and how many of these beings? But sometimes you got these things that, like when a Sasquatch would do something like they'll run against the car and run with the cars, and the way people describe that, I'm sorry, this reminds me of some of those birds that go dive bombing when you're driving, like right next to you on the highway or something. Like how fast can you go and they keep up with you? It kind of reminds you. So are those juveniles just playing, or are they doing something to startle people and make people and then they start taking that energy to I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. I've heard other people suggest that. So I don't know. It's interesting food for thought, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. He had some really good points, but he and I do disagree to an extent. And I know I asked him, he asked me when I was on his show last Friday, if I'm worried about being on like a government watch list. I'm like, I know I'm on one, I'm sure. I mean, come on. Remote viewing. Listen, I've already had like knocks at my door. Come on. Like, I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb. But I turned the tables and I asked him the same question about him yesterday. It was really cute. He was like, yeah, he said, yeah. He was like, I am. He's like, but I don't cross that line. He's like, there's a line that you don't cross. And it's like, once you start showing like real evidence of them, and stuff. He's like, there's so, he just takes encounters and he shares people's stories. Okay, that's what he does. Now I am out there doing research and potential. I mean, I think the line that would be drawn, the line in the sand is like no bodies. You know what I mean? Like going out and you want to go, unalive them or something. Like there's a line right there. That's when they'll probably start coming after you. If like, let's just say like me and my team are like, oh, we're gonna go, unalive some dogmen. That's not my mission. We're not planning. That's not what I'm planning on. Okay. And but that would be the line right there, I think. Something like that. So, but here's the thing too. Some people say that, well, nobody's going to believe that Sasquatch exists until there's a body, right? Well, what about dogmen too? And I don't think that way. I already know they exist. We don't need a body. Okay. But that's what some people say. I'm just putting it out there.
We still got to deal with the fact somebody said they don't believe that Sasquatch are harvesting beings. You don't know that. And especially when you've got so many different types of them. So we can't say that. There's not just one type of Sasquatch. Even, your remote viewing has showed that. What target it was, that it wasn't the fog, but it's one you had that would seem to be more type 2, chimpanzee type, that you weren't detecting any paranormal abilities with them whatsoever. Yep. So that right there, so there wouldn't be ones that would be anything that would harvest energy. But you have these others that are manifest beings that I believe there is a connection between trees with them, and some of them manifesting through the trees. By the way, Jessica, I meant to send this to you. The guy who talked a whole lot about, he's got some pictures of these, he's got videos of what appears to be these Sasquatch manifesting out of these trees. He goes on the internet by Man of Light on YouTube, Man of Light and manifesting Sasquatch or trees through trees. Type that in YouTube and his stuff will come up eventually. He's kind of got a channel it's hard to find. What you do, he's got a bunch of stuff on his videos to where he's saying he's seeing them coming out of trees. Some of them you can almost see a face. You see its face there, and then later, then you'll hear a pop later, and he's connecting some of the tree smacks you're hearing with them manifesting through trees. And again, I wouldn't think it's not every type of them, but this is the type that would be more like the video I did over the cross between Green Man and Sasquatch, and that European, the Green Man, and I don't know. It's hard to say because there's not just one type of them. If it was just Patty, we'd be good to go. I would agree with that person. But in this case, there's so many different types we don't know anymore. And are some of them straight up echoes from the earth? Are they manifested beings coming from the earth itself? Projections and echoes of the past that become almost third dimensional tangible. It's really hard to say, isn't it?
It is. That's so strange that you just said the Green Man, because I just seen that in my data somewhere, and I looked, it's in the Hat Man data. I actually didn't write Green Man, I wrote Green Giant. So I don't know. That's interesting for the Hat Man. Green Giant. Yeah.
Yeah, that the Green Man is, when I kind of contrast that with things like some of that the Sasquatch hair they have that has the chlorophyll in it, the green tinge to it, and also some of those reports from those whistleblowers military saying that the Sasquatch has some type of chlorophyll in its blood as well. And that that's just, it makes you wonder. We don't know what we're dealing with. Like I said, it's not every type obviously isn't like that, but some of them must be.
Yeah. It could be. They're not all the same. And
by the way, it's somebody's birthday too. Happy birthday, whoever that was. I heard you say that and I had to click off for a minute. Whoever it is, happy birthday.
Yes. Is it Aaliyah? Is that how you say your name? Alea, maybe? Alea, but it's Alea's birthday and Maureen's birthday. Maureen, the girl with her dog. Yes, you know Maureen. Yes, Maureen, the girl with her dog. It's her birthday. Yeah, her birthday was yesterday. And and I want to give a shout out also to my friend Mimi and her son Tay. They both have, her birthday is tomorrow and Tay's birthday is this week as well. Gosh, I think he's going to be 2. So happy birthday then. Happy birthday to all the Sagittariuses out there. I swear. And what comes next? Capricorn, I guess. I promise you guys, it's so weird. Some of my closest friends have always been Sagittariuses. They all have December birthdays. Every one of them. They're either Geminis or Sagittarius. I'm a Gemini. Yeah.
December, they barely made it. It's
God,
like
December,
Capricorn time now, or about 2 days will be Capricorn time.
Yeah, we used to do nothing but parties.
Yeah. Well, my dad was born on New Year's Eve, and my mom's birthday she's deceased now, but it was New Year's Day. So I know all about the Capricorns. I could write a book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad's one. I know, right? But, yeah.
You know, real quick, it was Third Eye Tribe said something about, oh, gosh.
Okay.
It was something about the X-Files and the Green Man or something, the X-Files.
Okay.
You know, on my YouTube channel, under playlist, there's the Sasquatch playlist. There's a video on there that's Sasquatch communications and Sasquatch confirmations. On that, it was when I was at that ranch. You know, I finally had 3 years I went there. 1 year, my phone, the camera didn't seem to mess up. And I took all these pictures around that yurt. And whatever this thing was manipulated even me with the gifting all the stuff I was trying to do. I was getting beat at every turn. And I couldn't figure out how. And when I took these pictures and made that video, the first one, this lady sends me these pictures saying, I want you to know this isn't pareidolia, however you say that. And, you know, you can see this thing it would be looking down at me. I'm taking these pictures. And they were asking me, how tall is that yurt you were staying in? I said, probably about 12 feet. And whatever this is was taller than that. And you could see it you could literally see it. It looks like it's partially phased out. That's on my channel. You can see those pictures. And it looks kind of like the Predator. People say that a lot. How when the light bends off the Predator in the movies, it looks somewhat similar to that. I mean, but it was driving me crazy. I couldn't understand how this thing was beating me, and it was beating all those people out there. I was watching them. I'm watching everything, and it's still beating me. I just done a video on invisibility, and my own stuff was getting thrown on me. You know what I mean? So it's real interesting when you deal with that, and kind of like, where did ninjas in the League of Shadow learn how to be invisible? Where did they learn those things about how the eye works? Where do we learn about human invisibility, or what I encountered, spontaneous human invisibility? Where does that stuff come from?
I don't know. It's probably ancient. Ancient teachings. I don't know. Fabian says, as soon as I started watching Dogman episodes, the Confessionals podcast, something started shaking my 80,000-pound rig while I'm in bed. Okay, that's wild. You know, I've been on Tony's show at least twice. I went in a studio. Yeah, that's Tony Merkel's. Tony was actually at the Meadow with us. So Tony and Joel came out and hung out with my team and did some filming for a documentary out at the Meadow recently. So yeah, I went out and hung out with him.
I wonder if he thinks it was Dogman, or he thinks it was Sasquatch that was rocking it.
Oh, you know, I was telling Vic Cundiff yesterday when I had him on the show, we were talking about, I asked him about truck drivers, like big rig truck drivers and stuff. Cause I told him that I get reports from truck drivers that have like Dogman encounters and Bigfoot encounters too. But they seem to, for whatever reason, Dogmen are seen very often on the side of the road. Okay. And those are the guys that see them. So Fabian, don't be scared in your rig. Okay. Just lock your doors. Okay. Keep something on you to protect yourself when you're out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, don't live in fear. But yeah, it's really weird. Like that's part of like, manifesting your reality too. We start listening to podcasts like mine. Okay. We're like Tony's. And you're listening to Dogman encounters, or like Vic's, like Dogman encounters and people's real life encounters with cryptids. And it becomes kind of like, you start realizing, well, this is real. Okay. Like these do exist. And it's almost like people might start manifesting those experiences for themselves. That's how powerful we are as humans, and how powerful our energies are in our minds and our manifestation abilities. So be careful what you think, and be careful what you listen to, y'all.
There he is.
What
There
is
he
that?
is. Victor. I had a
Okay.
Sasquatch experience in Mount Shasta, something or other branches. Victor asked if I felt any Artron energy last time I said, he said in Grafton. Okay, I think that's the Hispanic, the kind of tall Hispanic gentleman. I think Victor. I've met him at maybe two conferences now. I think so. I just want to say sorry that I didn't put it together. If that is you, if it's not you, sorry. Anyway, it's a double screw up either way. But yeah, sorry, I shouldn't be looking at that so much while we're talking. You got
What's
really cool
the
people in the chat. They're so busy exchanging good information or
yeah,
asking good questions instead of attacking each other or us. It's really nice. You know what I mean? So,
it is very
um,
nice. Yeah. Jim
you
has a
know,
question. Oh, go ahead, Barry.
no,
I don't know.
I wonder if he's right on that because I only know
Mhm.
what's the guy's name that had the older man that had the Wendigo deal with actually type 3. He's got the real good picture of the white one with the teeth. He's real
Ooh, I
big
don't
in the
know.
Bigfoot community. He's like,
Oh, you're talking about the white Bigfoot?
yeah, he's the one that said it. Actually, he called it Janoska or
Oh,
Gugwi.
you're talking about Duke?
Yeah, him.
World
Yeah,
Bigfoot Radio. Yeah.
yeah. He was saying that he was kind of drawing the connection between the type 3 Bigfoot and the Wendigo, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I've never heard that. I don't know. I don't think there's any connection to those, but there could be. I don't know. I've never heard that before.
I thought he had. I could be wrong. I don't want to misquote,
Yeah.
but I thought it's worth researching. And
Hmm.
because I used to hear connections between sometimes even the Wendigo and the Banshee, which I thought were completely different. But
Okay.
because to me, the Banshee was supposed to be the woman and one of the women in white. But then I hear that the Banshee can also look similar to a Wendigo. So I don't know. I don't know where it begins and ends, Jones. I just try to observe.
I know, right? We'll look it up. Sovereign Climate Wildman wants to know, Barry, you talk about the mask protocol where you were instructed to make a mask to ward off a prankster Sasquatch at a setting.
What?
Were you instructed to make a mask?
No, I've never heard
Sure,
that ever before.
I don't think I'd heard that story before.
No, I've never. No, I've never. I was not being pranked by them. They were communicating with me, but wouldn't call it a prank. No, I've never made any mask or not been pranked at a SETI. Sorry. Sounds interesting though. Somebody else might have encountered that. I don't know. Barry told me that one time. He probably forgot. No, I haven't forgot that. I've never made any mask at SETI and told to make a mask to ward off a prankster at SETI. I've done a bunch of videos on that whole thing over there. I've never told you that. No offense, I don't even know who you are. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, or sorry, a prick or anything, but that's not anything I've said.
I don't recall you saying that before,
Now,
but I don't know.
as far as the chanting, that was interesting, but that has nothing to do with any mask or anything like that. And that's just something I brought up because I thought I was hearing that chanting, and till I heard Scott Nelson start talking about the chanting in Texas, I thought I was just hearing stuff off the land, like Native American type of echoes coming off the land. But in reality, then I started hearing about Sasquatch doing this chanting around human habitations. And Scott Nelson was saying they didn't know if it was a prayer for the people or a prayer for them, but they felt it was a protective prayer. I thought that was interesting,
It is. It is. John Fortman. Hey, John and Coco. Wendigo is a Native American spirit of hunger that possesses people. Yeah. To me, like a Wendigo, I think is more like it's like a zombie. It looks like a White Walker. If you watch I think it's Game of Thrones, they have like White Walkers and stuff. I always thought that's what a Wendigo is. It's one of the kinds. We've talked about them before.
Don't they eat people too, or do they?
Yes, they do. They eat people. And I got invited to actually go on a Wendigo hunt. Supposed to have been this month, but I think the trip kind of it kind of fizzled out, so we didn't go. But up in Maine, they have Wendigos in Maine. Okay. They've got
Wow.
a few. Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that again, Savin. I'm not forgetting anything. I've never once said anything like that. Please do not put words in my mouth or things like that. And if you think I have, go back and prove it. It will be on a video. I've never said that because that's never happened to me. Please don't give me experiences that
No.
are not mine. I'll stop it there, okay? Anyway, I won't respond to that anymore. I've never said anything that. I'm sorry, but that sounds a little bit ridiculous. Making a mask to ward off a prankster Bigfoot?
No.
What? That doesn't
Okay.
make sense.
Sorry,
I've never said
Sovereign.
that.
Sorry, Sovereign. Okay. The Desolate one asked, was Bigfoot ever reported to speak human words? Yes. Yes. I think so. Yeah. And if you listen to the Sierra sounds with that Ron Moorhead and his buddy recorded in the Sierra Mountains back in when I don't remember, 1970s or 60s. I don't remember. They're actually, it's called like, what do they call that? Samurai chatter and stuff. But you can kind of, every now and then you can hear, it sounds like English, Spanish, German, archaic Japanese, all these different languages like combined. So, yeah.
On
Let's say
MK Davis's
human
MK
word.
Davis has the barn chatter, the barn talker, what he calls it on his channel. And that's one that turns out they found out that these Sasquatch are in there making different sounds, but sometimes they were saying the names of the people, but they're also saying the things that when they were calling out to them and like knowing that they're getting ready to leave. So they're saying things like, Mike, and things like that. They're giving them treats and stuff too. They don't want them to leave. That's on MK Davis's channel. I think it's the barn talker, and they record them in there quite a bit. And I think it's what's interesting about that is he was asking if that was maybe the same one that was the tractor Sasquatch. The one was as big as that tractor. You remember that video?
Oh yeah,
He was
I do remember
asking.
that. Yeah.
We're wondering if also that's the barn talker. So that's the one time I can remember them using English type words though. So kind of interesting, man.
Yeah. Jim says that Bigfoot can speak one word at a time. Yeah, and it's similar actually to like dogmen. Some people say that they've heard dogmen utter words. And if you go back and read up on like the cynocephali, the dog-headed people, they're in some of the diaries, history books. I don't know, not any history books we've been taught out of school, but they say that they actually would bark. They did a combination of like barking and uttering human, like saying human words too, but it was like one word at a time or a couple, like a phrase. So it was kind of like primitive, I guess. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Because they do that with our language, with their language, they talk so fast. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, do you have any final thoughts kind of tonight? I know we've gone kind of it's been a long show. I knew we had a lot of information to get out tonight. But do you have any final thoughts on the mysterious glowing plasmoid orbs? That's a weird word.
No,
And
honestly,
and what's going on?
No, honestly, I think your data was excellent, and we kind of figured some of it out together. And your audience probably knows more than I, but it's like I say, it's not quite what I expected to get, but it's killer information. To be honest with you, I was thinking maybe, well, I knew at least the initial ones, I was hoping maybe just be CGI, and I didn't think there'd be much to it, but it wasn't. Because I knew you would pick that up immediately if it was like some of those we were seeing were fake. But you can see how several of them have been sent into like different places, people trying to collect these plasmoids as they're calling them. So that that's interesting. I think you did a really good job on it. Coming up, man, it comes back engineered man against back engineered man stuff. That's what it seems like.
It's what it seems like. I mean, that was not. It wasn't. So blatant in the data where it said that, but that's we can take from it. We can deduce from all that data there. And yeah, it does appear like there at the end of that second data with the origin of some of these things, there is now, or there has been some sort of a threat, and I do believe it does involve some sort of, let's just say, explosive device or something. Okay, that was all in the data, which kind of lines up. It kind of lines up with the narrative that's kind of out right now. that there are things that are searching for a bomb or something, or some kind of, something that's very destructive. So, I don't know, interesting times. Interesting times.
Man. Oh no.
Yeah.
I do.
What's so funny?
I don't know if I should say it.
Oh, gosh.
Just say it because I don't want to really be associated with it. But it's weird because that may be when that came up. Look, I have heard something. I've heard that at that ranch that there was a set of feet and a mask there that was used to trick people. That didn't come from me though. But if that's the only time I've heard anything about a mask associated with that place. That just came into my mind. I know.
Yeah, you have said that. You said that. I've heard that before.
You've heard that too?
I've heard that before. Heard that? Yeah.
Oh man, I heard that in Vegas. I never had heard that. I heard that in Vegas. So, but I'm staying out of that, man. But I will say this: in all fairness, whatever happened to me was pretty real, though. Like when the rocks got thrown at me when I was on the bridge at night with that Albert guy. I mean, the first thing I thought was, okay, maybe it's somebody has some really good. They have those expensive binoculars out there, infrared. But Jessica, they wouldn't have had to climb up that tree and been way, way up there to throw that thing. Even with the binoculars, and it'd be just too dangerous. I mean, it wouldn't be worth pranking the brother from the Midwest for that, to risking falling off those trees. They were way up there, whoever it was. And for them to get up there during the time we'd walked out there, for us not to hear anything, it's too almost not impossible, but it's pretty close. You know what I mean? So whatever's going on out there, there's something odd when it comes to the Sasquatch. So I won't laugh at anybody says they got him in that area. They say that, or anybody, because I'll be honest with you. Before, I've told you this before, I'll say it publicly. Before, much weird stuff has happened to me. Before I went to that Ascetti Ranch, I wasn't sure Sasquatch did exist. I thought maybe so, but I wasn't sure. I know some people that have been out there walking by themselves in the mountains. My friend that almost died in Israel, he'd been all over the United States in the mountains, and he's seen like fairy folk and some other stuff, but he didn't think Sasquatch could exist. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. John said, Jessica, I know I keep saying this, but please bring up an image of the orphanum, the wheeled angel, and compare it to plasmoids. Okay, let me take that comment down so y'all can see that. Yeah, the wheeled angel. Okay, it's like an angel. This is what they say angels look like, with a big old eyeball in the middle, usually.
I've seen angelics when I died. They didn't look like that. But I will tell you this, who it was that put that up. Please, on my channel, check out the gyroscopic engine. I've seen something similar to that, and inside the middle of that, it would have been a ball that had these hexagons on it that looks a lot like C60, okay? And it takes us into the honeybee conjecture, why honeybees use the hexagon to store their energy. And around it, there was a contraption around it similar to that, but this thing was spinning and moving. And so it's quite similar. Put it to you like this, my friend. The first time I saw the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, a few years after that, it came out later, after I had this experience years later, I knew somebody had seen something. They had to have seen something similar to this. I used to think it was an engine, but now I kind of think it's a brain, more of a brain. And on the top of it was one of those huge black boxes that Jessica likes. At least the light went to one of those boxes.
Okay. I have a better picture. That one actually had a little baby fetus in it or something. I don't know what. I just grabbed something off the internet, y'all. So that one had like a baby fetus. This one's going to have an eyeball in it, I think. Hold on.
No, I've seen a contraption that was, the guy that talked about organic craft. Not a whole lot, but he did a deal with a reproduction system on board one of their craft that had a contraption that looked similar to that on it, actually. Interesting. Yeah, that
Okay.
one there's a little different than what I saw, but I can see still. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That is from the Bible, from Ezekiel here. It says Ezekiel 1, it's not 1:15 through 19. I can't see, y'all. I'm so sorry. My eyes are so really bad. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's what you're talking about. Sorry, my technology is starting to glitch out a little bit over here. So this has been fantastic, Barry. Oh my gosh, you and I together are solving the mysteries of the world. We're not solving anything really. We're probably making it worse. I'm just kidding. We're not making it worse. But yeah, you know what I mean. We're just making it more. We're just confusing everybody more with this. I mean, but I think that I think the data tonight was pretty cut and dry, pretty interesting. I think it does kind of answer some questions, I do think, when it comes to these plasmoids. Do you think that these are going anywhere? Do you think they're here to stay? I did pick up permanent in my data.
Well, I
What
mean,
do you
if
think?
people doing it, we probably have to, it's probably not going away. Just like the drone thing isn't going away. And I think maybe it becomes deciphering now what is man-made versus what is from somebody else. It's getting really hard to tell. Just like the CGI pictures, I got that little thing now. I put all picture I see before I post it. I put it through that Photoshop or the CGI computer. They have the program to see if it's real or not. It tells you there's AI in here. There's not AI in here. And I know, it's come down to that, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of
I still think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I like the laser stuff. I still like the plasma balls. Somebody in your comments said Spencer gifts. Ooh, yeah.
Spencer's. Yeah, I remember Spencer. I said
not
hot
as cool as they
topic.
used to be, but hot topic. We have one of those
Hot
here.
topic. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I picked up on something that looked like this in a couple of different targets. One of them was the Brown Mountain Lights. So do you remember that, Barry? You and I did that show together. We talked about the Brown Mountain Lights, and I was picking up on this was one of those blind targets where I was seeing this when I was trying to decipher what I was kind of remote viewing. I thought I was seeing something like that, and I wrote that in the data as part of my analytic overlay. It was like one of those plasma balls, the electric balls that you put your hand on, and the electricity goes up to your hand. Okay, so I was actually seeing that, and we know that in North Carolina, at the Brown Mountain, they have these really strange, like, plasma orbs and stuff. Like they have plasmoids, I guess you can call them. And some of them are not all orbs. They actually look like ball lightning or something there. But I was also, remember with that target, Barry, I was also picking up on Tesla and like Tesla Energy and his lightning power generation and things like that. So
hey, when I spoke in Nashville that almost got completely washed away a few weeks later, James Rink took me to the Brown Mountain Lights. And when we first got there and getting out of the thing, walking to the parking lot to go walk on the trail or whatever, we saw these, especially the lady that was with us too, Tracy, I think's her name. We saw these craft, two of them almost side by side going across the sky. I mean, it was, and then when we actually got to the spot to see the lights, maybe might have seen some plasma stuff once or twice, but nothing like what we saw when we first got out of the car. That's a very interesting place. But I must say, Jessica, that whole brown light area, it felt very dark to me, and I did not like the vibe I was getting from that place.
Yeah, well, I was also picking up on an underground facility. I think that there's some sort of like dumb or deep underground military base in that mountain or underneath it. I picked up on that very heavily in that target. I remember that. So there's something going on. I was picking up that those lights are being generated by something within that mountain, some kind of energy source. And I was picking up on some kind of Tesla energy or something. I don't know.
Question: Do you think that was a man-made deal or something else, or joint, or?
I think, okay, from what I can recall with that data, I do think that it was some kind of it was something coming from inside the mountain. Okay, so I don't know. It seemed kind of mechanical. It did, but see, these reports go back to like the 1800s, I think, at least, with those lights, or it was sometime maybe the early 1900s, and there were people that were living there. They didn't have. At some point, there was a railroad company that went through there and built the railroad. They were building their railroad through that mountain right there, or something. And so people would see lights there, and it was almost like they had damage control that came in. I'm just going to say damage control. Like a PR kind of guy came down and was telling the whole town, no, I work for the railroad or whatever. And those lights are our railroad trains. They're our trains, our engines with the lights on them. But people that lived around there weren't really buying it. And then at some point, like a flood happened or a tornado ripped through, something happened where all the power was out. There was no power whatsoever. There were no trains that went through there. There was no way for trains to go through there. Some kind of natural disaster happened, and the lights were still there at night. And so it totally debunked whatever the railroad company was saying. Yeah.
Boy, I would imagine railroads and all. I imagine there's a lot of Sasquatch activity there also.
I said North Carolina in the Appalachian, so yes.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
100%. I mean, wait, look at the background right here. It's all mountains.
I can only imagine what it must be like to live high up in those Appalachian mountains. That must be something else. I mean, they feel very ominous to me. Very ominous.
Wow. Okay, so Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says there's a movie made about a massive demonic deep underground military base at Brown Mountain Lights area. That's wild, because that was it was in my data that there was some kind of like pretty massive underground facility there.
Can you please find the name of that movie? I wouldn't mind watching it.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Kind of makes sense,
Yeah. So Gerald and Jane are in the chat. What's up, y'all? With Midwest Night Watchers. Gerald says there's a new desktop plasma generator, like a Tesla coil. A desktop plasma generator.
Really?
That's wild.
That sounds like fun. Hey, I'm a Star Trek guy. I like all the little gadgets, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Got my sonic screwdriver right here. Two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. God. Yeah, I like the little gimmicks, man. Again, I'll mention that again when comparing that guy. I want to say, is it John Leadbeater? Last name's definitely Leadbeater, but he did all these.
Leadbetter? I know some Leadbetters here.
Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. I could be wrong. I thought it was Leadbeater. I could be. It looks like Beater.
I have some Leadbetters.
Somebody's name. But he did all these pictures of these different these paintings of like plasma, and these plasmas look very much like not just that plasma ball, but they're connected to like our chakras. How their chakras are actually these energy vortexes. These plasma generating vortexes look similar to his paintings. In my crop circle video, I've done 3 crop circle videos. One of them I show his pictures and kind of compare them to some of the chakras and stuff.
Yeah, man,
it came up a lot when you had these individuals telling people that charging people $500 to remove their chakras.
Oh God!
And I mean, and these people would come to me saying, "No, I don't feel good after that." This is somebody I worked with previously, did several shows, but that's what they're doing, charging people to remove their chakras because someone else told them they could do it. And you start looking at science,
weird.
That's not even possible. Okay,
that's not even possible, right?
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. But because they're telling people, "Oh, it's because the chakras are really the soul trap." Everything's a soul trap now. That's the new thing. Is your own chakras are a soul trap. They just missed that in ancient scriptures. They just missed all that. And more than that, you could just will them out. If that's the case, it's like, okay, I don't want to have my heart anymore, so I'm just gonna pull it out. I'm finished.
Yeah. That's like your life force,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't recommend taking your chakras out, y'all. I don't know. That's I always work to keep mine in tune. Okay. I'm gonna get an attunement. Lead Jennifer. Please, someone come investigate here in Southeast Oklahoma? We have Bigfoots harassing us. Man, I wish I lived closer. I'd go. I would. And if anybody in here, I've got a lot of Bigfooters in the chat tonight and that are listening. If you guys can help her out, she's in Southeast Oklahoma. I do know some people down there. Okay, so if you'll shoot me an email, thecryptidhuntress@gmail.com. I'll be on the lookout for your email, and we'll hook you up with somebody that'll come out and check it out.
You know, I don't know if that's anywhere near the Wichita Mountains, but I've heard so much about the Wichita Mountains in Oklahoma being so active with Sasquatch.
All of Oklahoma is. Yeah. Very much. Yeah. We hear about that from John Vendeventer. What's up, John? I hope you're feeling better. John, who comes on the show and does some co-hosting with me and stuff. He lives in Hanobi. They call it Hanobi. It's spelled Hanobia. But it's pronounced Hanobi, and lots of Bigfoots out there. But they have the Hanobi Bigfoot Festival, I think, every year. Down there.
I gotta throw out my Tom Powell thing. Well, I took that picture with Tom Powell, a couple pictures we had taken. The lady taking the picture said, "The Sasquatch things are real. Bigfoot is real. My brother or a cousin or whoever, he lives such and such, and he's got those things just harassing him. They're starting to take his livestock. It's costing him a fortune, and he can't even see them, let alone stop them. He don't know what to do." And Tom looked at her and said, "Oh, just have them put up cameras. They'll be gone just like that." And I started laughing. I started cracking up, man. He said, "I'm serious, Barry." I said, "I get it, you know." You want to get rid of Sasquatch, put up a bunch of cameras.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, put cameras out there. And if they want to stick around, they'll move your cameras out of the way. They will, or they'll destroy them. Red Edge Savage. Is Pumpkinhead real? I've never known that Pumpkinhead would be real. Let me read it. Let me read it. It says, Pumpkinhead is supposed to be from that area also, a humanoid with an actual pumpkin type head, like jack-o'-lantern head with a mean look, grimacing scowl on its face, like it's mad. That sounds kind of like the melon heads. There are melon heads, actually, and I've done a show on it before. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just one more thing to look out for in the woods. You guys, please be careful out there. Stay safe.
How connected is that to the movie? That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. That's a scary movie.
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, it came from a melon patch, remember? Or sorry,
a melon patch?
With pumpkin patch, right?
Pumpkin patch.
It's technically a melon patch, isn't it? Or is it?
That's right.
But but no, it was that was why I laugh is because that movie, one, had Lance Henriksen in it, but two is the way every time it came around, you heard sound like the was it the grasshopper sound?
Oh God.
Well, you know, there's certain entities that people say that when those pale crawlers, that they hear something similar to that when they come around.
Like clicking, I think. I don't know. Like my guys on Cryptid Warfare operators, I do believe ran into a pale crawler on one of our hunts out in that cave. So I think they say they click or they make some kind of clicking noise or something. A lot of times they don't make any noise, but I think they make some kind of clicking noise or something like that. And that's what
you saw. Did it click?
No, it didn't make any noise. You're talking about the Grim Reaper that was standing by my bed? Yeah, no, it didn't make any noise. It did not. Cindy Goodbrick would be perfect actually for let's see. I think it's Red Edge Savage. I can't remember. I can't find her name in here. She is in East Texas right now, so I'm not sure how far away she would be from you, but she's up there right now. She does Bigfoot investigations and stuff too, so we can hook you up with her. So somebody would know.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
Vegetable mountains monsters. You know, I've been seeing a lot of that coming up now. I've been seeing some sketches of vegetable cryptids.
Okay.
Just recently, actually.
What? I can just see you giving me a vegetable cryptid remote viewing target. You know, lettuce man. You know, let us surprise you. Just kidding. Okay, that's wild. Well, we talked about the green man earlier. Okay, and the green giant, he was like an asparagus man or something.
Green giant.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. We've got crazy creatures out here roaming around this earth.
Well,
And,
now we have something to put that in, a caricature with it. Why, maybe how that whole thing with the green giant comes up.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, this
Great,
has been
great.
awesome, Barry. This show has almost gone on 3 hours, so I'm going to wrap it up. I got to go get my kid to bed. We got one more day of school tomorrow until he's out until 2025. So,
Oh wow, that's cool.
yeah. Well, Santa Claus is coming next week. Hopefully, he's been a good kid, so we're hoping that Santa comes and visits. We know he will. I'm sure he will. Yeah, we gotta. So yeah, I got a big day tomorrow. I got to try to do some things while he's at school tomorrow. So, so Barry, thank you so much for being here tonight, and I want to thank the entire audience. Thank y'all so much for all the wonderful comments tonight, and all the input that you guys gave. Each and every one of y'all helped make the show a million times even better than just me and Barry sitting here talking and going over all this data. Y'all are amazing, and so Barry, thank you so much. Can you tell the audience where to find you, your YouTube channel, your Patreon, all that? And your services.
HE double hockey sticks. No, I'm just kidding. My email is barrylittleton13@gmail.com. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm trying to respond really quick now. Also, anybody wanting services or anything or a session, you can reach me there. I've done a lot of work on YouTube, Barry Littleton. I'm also on Patreon. That helps me on YouTube. And that's where you can reach me on Facebook, also Barry Littleton. Those are my main outlets. Instagram too, Barry Littleton there. But
okay. And what kind of do you have services you provide too? You do regression therapy and things like that?
Yeah, I do hypnosis. I do past life regressions, extraterrestrial regressions, trauma release, earthbound spirit release, stop smoking, weight loss, and also generational curse cutting.
Awesome. Okay. And there are people that were in the chat tonight saying they highly recommend you to Barry. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
100%.
Wonderful sessions I've had with those people too. They're really gifted. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah. Man, thank y'all so much. There's so many nice comments tonight. Thank y'all so much. We really do appreciate y'all, each and every one of you guys. And ladies and gents, we appreciate every one of y'all. And I want to thank Mystical Wonderland for becoming a member of the Hunt Club tonight. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. And I do put exclusive content out there for my Hunt Club members. That's just a channel membership. You just get join the channel membership. And I put out some exclusive content. I try to do at least one video every week for you guys. I got really busy about 2 weeks ago, and I did 2 weeks. I skipped a week. So, but I try to do it every week, if not more, for you guys. So, thank you guys so much. I have Alan Thomas coming on the show Saturday night out of California. He is Squatch Zone. He's got some fantastic encounters with Bigfoots up close and personal for long, extended periods of time. It's going to be really cool. Please come and hang out with me. 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, 9 Central, Saturday night, y'all. It'll be a great show. And I do want you guys to please stay safe out there. And keep your eyes to the sky. Don't live in fear. Keep your head on a swivel. And Barry, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a great holiday if I don't get to see you again.
Hey, thank you. Same to you and Ben, definitely, and to your mom, definitely.
Thank you.
Family time is priceless,
Yes, and to you and your family as well. Okay, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'm sure I'll see you before the New Year. Okay, but maybe not before Christmas.
Sure, I'll have something to harass you about sooner or later.
I know, right? We'll do some more targets. We'll get some more remote viewing targets loaded up for the future and stuff. And I'll do a remote viewing show next week too. And we'll it won't be long before we talk again. Okay, but as far as the show goes, Monday I actually have my friend David Pardue, who is one of my research buddies. He's coming on the show Monday to with some brand new evidence of some of his adventures with some really cool videos and still shots from the woods where he does his research. So we got some good shows lined up. And everybody, y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for all the input, like I said. And T-Buds, thank you for the super chat. It means the world to me. I appreciate you. All right, Barry, have a great night. You guys, like I said, stay safe out there. And I will see y'all.
Thank you, everyone. Take care and God bless.
Yeah, I'll see y'all on Saturday. All right, bye, y'all.